Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's Board of Zoning Appeals hearing. Before we begin, let me introduce some members of town government that act as advisors to this board. To my left is Rachel Lenberger, counsel to the board from the town attorney's office. To her left is Blaise Donadio, senior planner with the planning department. To his left is Matt Collado, senior planner with the planning department. And to his left is Sabrina Butita. She's an environmental analyst with the Department of Environment and Waterways. You are here this evening seeking relief from the town zoning ordinance. New York State statute requires that any town that adopts zoning must also have a Board of Appeals to act as a relief valve, so that persons can seek relief without the expense of legal proceedings. The most common kinds of applications before this board are area variances. Area variances deal with dimensions of lot area, height, frontage, setbacks, and parking reductions. New York State statute mandates that the board must consider the following 5 criteria when evaluating area variances. When you come to the podium to present your application, please do your best to address these 5 criteria. You do not have to remember them because they're posted and they're on a little sheet, should be on the podium. Is it on the podium, Blaise?
They are on the podium.
All right. Number 1, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created. Number 2, whether the applicant has other feasible alternatives. Number 3, whether the variance is substantial. Number 4, whether an adverse impact on the environment will be created. And 5, whether the alleged difficulty is self-created. This board also has the authority to grant special exceptions, also known as special use permits or conditional use permits. This is a use that is permitted by zoning, but under specific conditions that designed to ensure compatibility with the surrounding area and the overall zoning plan. If all of the general and specific requirements are met, this board must approve the application. If they are not, this board must deny it, unless they request variances. At that point, the 5 considerations and balancing test shall be applied. What is the balancing test? Balancing test is a statute that requires the board to balance the interest of the applicant and those of the neighborhood or community. The board shall grant the minimum variance it deems necessary and adequate, while at the same time preserving and protecting the character of the neighborhood and the health, safety, and welfare of the community. The board has the power to impose reasonable conditions that relate to the variances. Regarding procedures, cases will be called in the order that they were advertised. When your case is called, please come forward, submit your affidavits and mailing receipts to Mr. Donadio, and then the applicant will be given the opportunity to explain to the board why the variance is needed. Again, please address the 5 considerations. Then we will ask the applicant, after the applicant is done speaking, all interested parties will be given one opportunity and only one opportunity to be heard. Please organize your thoughts and keep your remarks factual, related to the case, as well as the variances being sought. Then we will ask the applicant to come back to the podium to address your concerns. The board will then close the case and reserve decision. After all hearings are closed, the board will review cases and decide some of them, and others will be reviewed at a later date. There are 3 ways to find out about your case. First is you can wait until after the public hearing, but there is no guarantee that we will act on the case tonight. Second way is to check the website after 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. The third way is applicants can wait and be notified by mail. After the case is closed, no additional information or testimony can be submitted. I believe we have 2 adjournments tonight. The first one is case number 19378, Matthew and Angeline Perry. Is anyone here for that application? That case is going to be heard on September 30th. The other adjournment is case number 19375, Red Oak Estates. Anyone here for that one? That case is going to be heard also on the 30th, but there is a planning board meeting on September 10th that we have to wait for a recommendation from that board. So you can contact the planning department if you want to attend that meeting. So mark your calendar, September 10th for the planning board, and September 30th they'll be back in front of this board. In no event, we will not hear that case tonight, so you don't have to hang around if you don't want to. Of course, it's fun if you want to. Anyway, with that, Blaze, our first case.
All righty. The first case on the agenda is case number 19337.
Hold on. Guys, you got to take it outside.
Okay.
Guys, can you take it out in the hallway, please? The court reporter can. On the 10th, I believe it's 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. Thank you. You're welcome. All right, you ready?
Ready? Okay.
We're ready.
The first case on the agenda, case number 19337, Gary Schenk, 150 Lillian Road, Nesconset. The location of the property is the south side of Lillian Road, 503 feet east of Gibbs Pond Road. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting a variance to increase the maximum permitted paved surface in the front yard from 25% to 38% for existing asphalt paving and concrete walkways.
Is Mr. Shank here? Yeah. Oh, did you turn in your affidavits and your mailing receipts? Just hand those over to Matt. Thank you. And then you can come up to the podium.
Thank
If you could state your name and address.
you. Angela Amoroso, 150 Lillian Road, Nesconset, New York, 11767.
You need the spelling?
Amoroso, Amoroso.
And do we have a power of attorney?
His name is on the house,
Oh,
Shank.
we just need you
S-H
first.
Oh,
All right.
Name and address.
Gary Shank, 150 Lillian Road, Nesconset, 11767.
And would you like Ms. Amorosa to speak on your
Yeah.
behalf? Okay. Sorry, it's just procedure.
I don't even know what's going on.
I'm going to be a little confused too, so. I don't real, just never happened, so I'm not really sure what to say. When the existing driveways were there when we moved into the house. So, apparently it's, over by a certain percentage. I can't speak in front of people, I get nervous.
It's okay, don't be nervous. So is there, want to explain, is there a reason that you need the additional paving in the front yard?
It's already there. So I guess somebody had complained about it. And I got a letter in the mail stating that. So I'm not really sure.
So what you need to do is to try and explain to the board why it's important for you to keep those.
Oh,
Why, if there's a reason that, and again, if you look at those 5 criteria that are on the board, if you can kind of go through those, it makes it so that we can do our job.
Okay, well, there were existing driveways and, I don't know, could you help me? Could you come up here?
Those walkways were there when we bought the house and the driveway, so I don't
Adverse-
understand what.
I forgot what I filled out.
But that's where we park.
I think Blaze will try and help you a little bit.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't.
So the driveways that are there now,
Yeah.
you utilize them, you park vehicles
Yeah.
on them?
Yes.
So you need the space for both driveways to park vehicles?
Yes.
Yes.
The walkways, obviously, everybody has a
Yeah, they
walkway
go
in their
to
front
the-
yard.
to the street.
I mean, as far as like another thing is, I'm handicapped myself, so I don't really want to discuss it in front of everybody, but I have partial amputees on my feet. I just had a kidney transplant, so I have a lot of health issues, so things do come about where I do need extra space and walkways.
It's easier to walk on a paved surface.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you need them. Bottom line, you need them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
When Anyone in the audience like, or actually, Planning, do you have anything on this one?
Nope.
Sabrina? Anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? You want to just let this person speak, and then you can come back. Give your name and address for the record, please.
My name's John Papadakis. My address is 158 Lillian Road, Wisconsin. John, last name Papadakis. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'm here in objection to the zoning variance requested by the applicant Amorosa concerning the property of 150 Lillian Road. My property is directly west and adjacent to 150 Lillian Road. The property at 150 Lillian Road has two separate driveways and two curb cuts located on each side of its property. The east side driveway is double the width of the west side driveway. The west side driveway is paved from the road to the rear of the property's dwelling, covering 100% of its side yard. At the side yard, the driveway is greater than 10 feet wide. It's actually 13 plus feet wide, and has zero setback from the side lot line. The lack of setback runs the whole length of the west side driveway. The west side driveway actually encroaches on my property anywhere from half to 3/4 of a foot, which is depicted in a certified land survey, which can be provided to the board for their review. Whether there is undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood? Yes, there will be. I have lived in the neighborhood for 10 plus years. I've never seen a residential frontage contain so much pavement. This is characteristic of a commercial property, not a residential property. Not only does it look bad, it gives the suburbs of Long Island a very city-like feel. Is there a detriment to nearby properties created by the area variance? Yes, there is. Otherwise, I would not be here. This variance, if granted, would be a violation of my property rights, would negatively impact my property. It would be direct cause of the devaluation of my property, causing it to be appraised lower, making it less marketable and less appealing to buyers. Whether the variance requested is substantial? Yes, it's substantial. The variance in relation to the setback from the side lot line, if granted, would be over 100% reduction of the ordinance. Whether the need for the variance is self-created hardship? It certainly is, as the front yard driveways and side yard driveways are overpaid without the benefit of a permit or variance. Whether the proposed variance will have an adverse impact on the physical and environmental conditions of the neighborhood? Yes, it does. Due to the overpavement on the side yard driveway, due to the zero setback from the side lot line, along with the dwelling's both front and rear roof gutters draining onto the west side driveway, all combined have caused excessive water to accumulate on the east side of my property, leading to waterlogged lawn and flooding of my arborvitae tree bed, making the front east side property unusable, making it near impossible to grow grass there, and has caused several of the arborvitae trees on the east side of my property either desiccate, turn brown, and/or die. Whether the benefit sought can be achieved by another feasible means for the applicant to pursue? Yes, it can. The applicant can simply reduce the width of her side driveway to 10 feet as required by town code and reduce the front side driveway so that there's a 1-foot setback as required by town code. And then the applicant would not need a variance. The applicant's driveway would still be operational, and I would be able to use my front east side property, and it would restore value to my property. Thank you for your consideration of my concerns and objections.
Thank you. Can we get a copy of that survey that you
Sure.
were talking about?
I emailed it to you.
Did you guys put that in the file?
Not sure.
Anyway, he's original.
If that's the original,
Yeah. You can keep it. I have it.
you guys want to see this? Anyone else like to be heard on this one? we'll bring them back up.
Okay.
Is it okay if I keep that in the file?
Yes.
Thank you. Anyone else like to be heard on this application? Ms. Amoroso, you guys want to come back up?
Hi. His arborvitaes that he's talking about, when we moved, we were there before him, and he planted them, they were tiny. Now they're like, if you could see by the picture, how healthy they are. They are not waterlogged. He actually added a hose where he put holes in it to water them every day, and he continues to constantly water them. As a matter of fact, last year I had to tell him that his sprinklers
That's
are,
not, just keep it part of the.
oh, okay. So anyway, yeah, it's not getting waterlogged.
Well, so I do notice on his survey, which is a
It looks like one
certified
of our
survey,
pages is too far over.
it looks
on
like
the
it's
drawing.
about, it looks like it's about a foot or a half a foot to 1 foot
So does-
on his property.
Okay, so what would I have,
Well,
remove the paver?
It's just fact that
They-
we'll use right now to make our decision.
Okay.
They were
But
already
ultimately,
there,
we
yeah.
normally require that applicants bring their encroachments back onto their own property.
Okay.
Yeah,
But other than that, if it,
Yeah, it was there when we bought the house,
that's
just
what I don't
like it is. We
understand. I
didn't
had
change nothing,
told
so.
Blaze that, you
I
know.
think the guy before us owned both properties.
He did.
So when he split it, I don't know what he did. Our variance was so old and looked weird, but we put, the driveway is exactly where it was when we bought the house from him.
And there was actually a chain link fence that's still in our backyard, all the way down my road. That would covered our whole property line.
okay. All right, I think we have, anyone else have anything? Okay, good?
Yeah?
Good.
All right, I'll
Yep.
entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, case closed.
The next case on the agenda is case number 19359, Danielle Payman, 36 Sewanaka Avenue, Nisconset. The location of the property, the west side of Sewanaka Avenue, 300 feet north of Lindell Avenue. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting a variance to increase the maximum permitted paved surface in the front yard from 25% to 32% for an existing asphalt driveway.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Ralph L. Sasser for the applicant, Danielle Payman. I just turned in the power of attorney and the sign posting.
Could you spell your last name, please?
Elsasser. And
Give
Ralph,
your address already?
1134B Middle Country Road, Selden. I'm an expediter. I've been before this board a few times, but most of the time in Brookhaven, but I'm here tonight. I just want to explain what it is here. What happened here the last time, we're looking for an increase up to 32%. The driveway's been in, it's new construction. It's been in for about 4 weeks now, that driveway. And the lot coverage there, basically, it went from 25 to 32 without any knowledge of that we had to stay within the 25%. But the amount of cars that they have that they're going to be putting in here, that's basically why they wrapped that around the way it is in the back. Okay? To me, it doesn't have any impact as far as on the neighborhood. And, was the action on their part? Yes, of course, because they put the driveway in, okay? So, but we don't feel it's a detriment at all to the neighborhood at all.
Okay. Anyone on the board have any questions?
Thank you.
Planning.
No, thank you.
Sabrina?
No, thank you.
Would anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Case closed. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, have a great evening.
Thanks, you too.
The next case on the agenda is case number 19366, Theodore Preston, 28 Highgate Drive, Smithtown. The location of the property is the northeast corner of Highgate Drive and Legend Court. The property is zoned R21. The applicant is requesting variances to reduce the minimum front yard setback from 50 feet to 25 feet for an existing 196 square foot shed, to reduce the minimum side yard setback from 16 feet to 2 feet for an existing 62 square foot shed and existing 36 square foot outdoor kitchen.
Good evening. Christina Bravin, Morano Expediting, P.O. Box 39, Bethpage, New York, 11714. Agent for the applicant, Mr. Preston. Mr. Preston purchased the home in 2019, at which time the existing 196 square foot shed was already located in its current position. And based upon review of the Suffolk County GIS website, the shed has been on site in that exact location since at least 1984. It's exclusively used for storage, household gardening equipment, pool accessories. The shed is screened from both Highgate Drive and neighboring parcels by 10 to 12 foot tall evergreen shrubs. In 2019, he also placed, he placed a new Rubbermaid style shed that's 62 square feet. It's prefab, snaps together, additional storage was needed, and he was unaware that a permit for this size of shed would be required. Approximately 2 years ago, when he installed a kitchen island outdoor, it was during that process of closing out the permit that he was informed that these sheds would require permits. So there's no adverse impact to the neighborhood or surrounding properties. The shed and outdoor kitchen are entirely consistent with typical, you can see from the photos, typical residential amenities in the area. The substantial evergreen screening effectively eliminates visibility from public roads. And it's a unique parcel. It's a regular lot shape coupled with dual street frontages, restrict front yard functional space, leaving not too many locations for them to place these sheds. The requested variance will not produce an undesirable change or impact the value of surrounding properties, and it does not impact the character of the neighborhood. And I have photographs here if you need them, if you haven't had a chance to visit the property, but they're the same photos in the file,
We have,
if you want to see. Okay,
I think we have them already, right? Do we have?
Great.
Yeah.
that's it.
All right. Anyone on the board have any questions?
No.
Please.
No, thank you.
Sabrina? Anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Case closed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next case on the agenda is case number 19367, Stephen Leporin, 17 Mayfair Terrace, Comac. The location of the property is the northwest corner of Mayfair Terrace and Astor Court. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting variances to reduce the minimum front yard setback from 40 feet to 26 feet for a proposed 1,066 square foot two-story side addition, to reduce the minimum side yard setback from 12 feet to 1 foot for an existing 74 square foot shed.
Good evening.
Hey, how are you? I'm the applicant, Stephen Leporin, 17 Mayfair Terrace, and I allow Ashley to speak on my behalf for my architect, Mark Anthony.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Ashley Lowe Chianese, Chianese, from Mark Anthony Architects. Our office is located at 1563 Belmore Avenue in Belmore, New York. I am here this evening on behalf of our client, Mr. Stephen Leporin, who is the owner and occupant of the subject property located at 17 Mayfair Terrace. We filed an application with the Town of Smithtown Building Department for a proposed first and second story side addition, as well as a proposed front first story addition, proposed interior alterations on the first and second floor, and we are also maintaining an existing frame shed as well. We are here to reduce the minimum front yard setback from 40 feet to 26 feet, for which we need relief of 14 feet. That is the front yard running on Astor Court. This is a corner property located in an R10 zone. Since this is a corner property, this is technically considered the second front yard, even though it is the west side of the dwelling. That is our only request for the dwelling aspect of this project. Our additional requests are to permit the accessory structure, the existing frame shed, which again, although it is theoretically in the rear of the dwelling, that is considered the side yard. And as a result, we need relief for the accessory structure to be located in the side yard. Additionally, we are requesting relief to reduce the side yard from 12 feet to 1 foot, for which we need 11 feet of relief for the frame shed as well. The additional space is for Mr. and Mrs. Laporin's growing family. We do not believe this project request will have an adverse effect on the neighborhood or the surrounding properties or the environment, as it is within the characteristics of the neighborhood and will only increase the aesthetics. While the front yard setback is not substantial, the request for the shed setback is over 50%. However, it is existing, and the neighbors seemingly have no issue with the shed as it stands. As for whether or not it is feasible to do something different, the corner property is the reason for 2 out of the 3 variances, which made designing the project more difficult, so we did try to go with the option that was the least cause of the variances. Like I said, while the addition request for the front yard setback may be somewhat self-created, the fact that this is a corner property leads to the setback request and the request for the approval of an accessory structure in the side yard. Were this an interior lot, we would likely not need as many variances. Again, the Laporins are looking to have this as their forever home for their growing family. These are our only requests tonight. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. One question I have, there's a second shed I noticed on the side that the addition is going on. It's like a prefab kind of plastic shed. Is that being removed?
Yes, shed A is to be removed.
Okay. And then effectively, the existing shed will wind up almost directly behind the addition?
Just to the right, if you're looking at the plot plan.
Right.
Or facing the house, yes.
So it's not moving from its current location?
No.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions?
No.
Lanny?
No, thank you.
Sabrina?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mike.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The current application to enlarge the existing single-family dwelling does require approval from the Department of Health. We need this information in order to complete our environmental review. We have notified the applicant's representative. Therefore, no decision will be made until we receive that information. We sent a letter. I don't know if your office has received it.
We did receive it. We are in the process. They have hired a septic engineer. We're just waiting on information to come back from Suffolk County Health Department.
Thank you.
You got it.
Anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
The next case on the agenda is case number 19369, Robert Argiro, 35 Woodland Lane, Smithtown. The location of the property is the north side of Woodland Lane, 215 feet west of Mars Court. The property is zoned R21. The applicant is requesting variances to reduce the minimum front yard setback from 50 feet to 44 feet for a proposed 311-square-foot roof over porch, to reduce the minimum side yard setback from 16 feet to 9 feet, to reduce the total side yard setback from 34 feet to 25 feet, to increase the maximum height of an accessory structure from 15 feet to 18 feet, to increase the number of floors for an accessory structure from 1 to 2, for a proposed 616-square-foot detached garage.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Robert Argiro, A-R-G-I-R-O, owner for 35 Woodland Lane, in Smithtown. I brought my architect, John Gleason, is going to be speaking on my behalf.
Okay, thank you.
My name is John Gleason, architect, 336 6th Avenue, St. James, New York, 11780. I'm the designer and architect for the BZA hearing tonight, or the two structures that we're trying to ask for approval for. The owner, Robert Argyro, recently bought this home, maybe about 3 months ago, moving from another area of Smithtown. The couple stayed in the town. They just needed a bigger home. The current home needs some renovations, a new kitchen, siding, roofing, and landscaping, which some of those renovations are in the process right now. On July 24th, last month, we obtained a permit to convert the existing two-car garage into living space. So this construction is active based on permit number 251328, again, issued on July 24th. So now this house does not have a two-car garage or any garage currently. The need for extra space due to Robert's large family was the reason for the garage conversion. They needed the extra living space. And also, this house, like many of them in the neighborhood, only a third of the footprint of the house has a full basement. A lot of it's slab, believe it or not, the garage and some of the rooms on either side of the house. So it's not really, it looks big from the street, but underneath there's a lot of concrete slabs and limited basement area. So now we're at the BZA tonight for a proposed 22 by 28 garage with storage area above and an attached covered patio for an outdoor cooking area for use by the in-ground pool, which you can see, kidney-shaped pool that's on the east side of the property. The variance for the height of the garage and location on the backyard is due to the fact that there's a large tennis court currently that takes up most of the rear yard. You can see it fenced out in a big rectangular shape. That's pretty much the width of the lot. Mr. Argyro intends to rehab the surface into a sports court and pickleball area for his family to use. It's all fenced in with large height fences, so it's not too much work to rehab it and get it back into shape. I think it's been neglected a couple years from the previous owner. The application also has proposed a front porch that runs almost the entire width of the house, the front of the house. Right now, currently, there are 4 two-story columns that have been removed. I think some of the photos depicted them. That was on the application for the garage conversion, so we made room for, hopefully, we can install this front porch, which will really enhance the neighboring properties. Not too many people in the neighborhood have a full width front porch, mostly have porticos. The garage and porch will not affect neighboring properties, the setbacks, the vegetation, fencing that is currently there will limit views from neighbors. The application may be viewed substantial as to the height of the garage, but recently this board approved a 1,200 square foot garage that was 18 foot in height in the same zoning district in St. James on March 26th. And I want to submit that for evidence or to the board.
Thank you.
There will not be trees or major landscaping that will be removed to build the garage and porch. It's a clear area in the yard where the garage and porch will be constructed. Difficulty was not created by the owner, as a permit is not currently issued for garage, roof over porch, and a roof over patio for a cooking area. We ask for a favorable decision. We're here to answer any questions from the board at this time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'd just like to point out for the record, the case that you handed in, the previous decision, that case did not request any setback variances.
Correct. It was strictly
that
an
was-
area, size, and height variance, yes.
That was gonna be my one comment, was
Yes.
that when you're going over height and you're asking for relief to the setback, you're really impacting the neighbor. Is there the ability to move this thing further? I guess that would be to
To
the
the,
east.
towards the pool, right? Yeah.
It looks like it would still line up with the driveway if you shifted it over.
It would depend on the distance behind the house, obviously, right, if you're getting cars in and out, what that shift would require.
Yeah, so it would be reasonable to shift it a few feet.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as we can able to get
Is
cars.
it safe to say that if we recommend shifting it the distance, but it still winds up to the side of the house so you can access it?
Absolutely, yes. I see what you're saying, like the corner, the right corner of the garage to the,
It looks like you'd be close to the setback at that point.
I agree, yes.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions on the board?
No, thank you.
Please.
No other comments on the application, Mr. Chairman, but I do want the board to be aware that there was a request for a front yard setback for a proposed porch. And in reviewing the survey, if the board could take a look up on the screen, you can see that the front of the house actually meets the required 50 front yard setback. And the way that the code is written is that as long as your structure meets the required setback, you are permitted to encroach up to 6 feet into the front yard. Therefore, the variance actually was not needed.
Does building agree with you, or should we?
I believe so, yes.
50 to 44 is needed.
Okay, thank you. So we may deny it without prejudice as moot. Anyone else? Sabrina?
No, thank you.
Anyone in the audience like to be heard on this case? Come on up.
Hello.
Good evening.
Edward Doherty, 37 Woodland Lane, Rob and Rose's new neighbors.
Can you spell your last name?
Doherty, it's Mark Kimberly. Let's see what this. Okay. I didn't know about the 5 rules here, so, it does change the character of the neighborhood. You know, people move to the Pines, big lots, peaceful. This will definitely infringe on our privacy. I brought photos of kind of what,
Into the mic. You just need the mic so she can hear you.
if you look at that photo, that's just leaving my back door, making a right by a chat set. Through that little opening is gonna be an 18-foot small home. So I don't see that as, I see that as completely detrimental to my privacy and property value. You know, I go to sell this thing in a couple of years, we're not all that young, that's gonna be something that will be detriment to us. You know, they have plenty of parking on their driveway, so they don't need necessarily the garage. If they convert the garage to a living space, and I hate this. I hate that I have to do this. I hate that this wasn't just nipped in the bud before, and we have no problem with the porch, everything else, the things they're doing are wonderful, but this item here is a beyond, I can't even believe we have to even talk about it. They're causing it by needing to create additional space, converting the garages into living space. But they've also made their driveway bigger to fit more cars, so they could fit easily 9 cars on their driveway without having to move a car. So I don't really see the need for the garage. I understand. And the 2 stories. The 2 stories also, you could see right in our backyard. Even the plans on the garage don't even show what they're gonna build on my side. So,
What's the need
I mean, the second story is gonna be looking right in my yard. 9 feet off my property line.
Well, it's 18 feet high.
But I'm just saying it's 9 feet off my, is it 9 or 6? I don't even know.
The request is
9.
Right, which is
So,
close.
and are there gonna be windows there? People are looking in while I'm in the pool? The other picture I have is from the pool, looking at that. Whether proposed variance will have an adverse effect.
Just not to interrupt, but if you look at the screen right now, it shows you the structure. It doesn't appear that there's anything on that.
No, that's, the bottom right is what's facing the pool. The one to the left is facing the street. The one to the left of, on the side where those garage doors are is my house. There's no picture of that.
Okay, we can ask him.
But I'm just saying is, that to me is secondary, but I don't even, it's not even there for me to even make an opinion on. And whether proposed variance adverse environmental, yeah, I think it was self-created, although whatever, they need space, I get it, but if parking is that much more important to you, then don't convert the space. Environmental concerns, that's a pretty big structure in the backyard.
It's uncharacteristic of our neighborhood.
Yeah, so.
If you're going to speak, just into the mic so that she.
The new structure would be characteristic of our neighborhood. We don't really have those, and we bought the house based on the privacy that it did provide, and this would be impinging on that, in our opinion.
Yeah, and, and the fact that it was a precedent that was noted to kind of help push it along, that's kind of part and parcel. You do this, the next person's gonna do it, the next person's gonna do it. Next thing you know, they're renting, you got a whole bunch of people living in there. I don't know what they're planning on, they're saying they're gonna do it for a garage. What if they change it? Now what, I gotta complain?
That's not permitted under the town code, so.
Well, but,
We just want a reason for the need for the second floor of this structure.
Okay, we'll ask.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
okay.
Was there someone else that wanted to be heard? Come on up.
Good evening, board members. My name is Al Sparacino. I live at 34 Woodland Lane, which is directly across from the property that is asking for the variance.
Could you spell your last name, please?
S is in Sam, P is in Peter, Aracino.
Thank you.
I'm here to respectfully oppose the request for a variance to build a two-story garage on that property. My concerns are based on impact of the structure would not have only on my home, but the character and integrity of the neighborhood and the people around it. The scale and height of 18 feet for the second two-story garage on this property are out of character with the surrounding homes. Not to mention, I think it's 3 feet over what is allowed for the area. Allowing this variance could set a precedence that encourages similar oversized buildings, fundamentally changing the look and feel of our community and lowering property value. The height and mass could visually dominate the property, creating a bulky and unattractive view, reducing property appeal, thus the neighborhood home's market value. Potential buyers may be deterred from buying area homes because of the loss of privacy, the view, or natural lighting. The structure would have a direct impact on the neighbor's privacy. A second-story garage with windows and elevated space would overlook multiple yards and portions of their homes, creating significant loss in privacy, thus in turn will make it uncomfortable to use and enjoy their backyards. What will the environmental or draining issues be? The garage is set back over 18 feet into the backyard from the driveway. The driveway will then need to be extended over 18 feet. Where is the storm water runoff going to be diverted? Already, when we have large rainstorms, the water runs down the block like a river. Will the storm drains be able to handle this extra water capacity that's going to come? If the spaces for additional parking is needed, they have already laid a parking platform for 6 cars, which is not depicted on the plans. They installed 6 precast concrete wheel stops like those utilized in commercial parking facilities. The rough estimate area, and this is again rough, I'm just getting off of what I've taken off the internet to get an idea of what the length of these blocks are. The concrete blocks roughly measure about 6 feet in length. It approximately, what they have now as a structure fits 6 cars, which is about 612 square feet. The corresponding dimensions are about 36 feet by 17 feet, which is off the end of the driveway, which is roughly about 5 feet setback from the curb of the property. This is based on 6 cars, precast concrete wheel stops being 6 foot in length. An additional 2-story garage could also be used for non-residential or high-traffic purposes, for example, rental space or even a business. I understand that the town doesn't allow that, but the question is, what happens 6 months or a year from now when that does happen, if it does? How do we then come back to the town to complain about that? Those are some concerns that we've got. Approving this could weaken the enforcement of zoning laws, leading to overdevelopment in the neighborhood. I urge the board to consider the long-term impact on the neighborhood and deny this variance request. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. There was someone else who wanted to speak also? Come on up.
Good evening. My name is Frank Bagata, B as in boy, A, G-A-T-T-A. I live at 30 Woodland Lane, Smithtown. I was under, my mistake, I sent a letter to the zoning board here, that this garage was going to be on the front of the house, not the rear. So my objections are more to the character of the neighborhood, which I think we just heard. Any increase in the building height, reduced setbacks, reduced side yards, would be totally inconsistent with the established character of our neighborhood. Approving this variance would set a precedent that undermines the integrity and the harmony of the community. This community is known as the Smithtown Pines. They have very strict rules there. You cannot park on the street from 2 in the morning to 6 in the morning. If you do, you are fined $50. So it's very, very regulated, this area, the Smithtown Pines. I was also under the impression when I saw this 6-car, I don't even know what you call it, it's a parking lot almost, right on the front lawn. I don't know if there's a variance that's needed for that or not needed for that, but it is totally out of character with the neighborhood. Because you've got a driveway that can probably hold legitimately 6 cars. Now you've got a 6-car parking lot on the front lawn. You've now got 12 cars at this residence. Not in character with the neighborhood, I'll just leave it at that. There's no environmental impact that I can speak to. As far as property values, there is a legitimate concern that the variance could adversely affect property values in the surrounding Smithtown Pines area, specifically the homes on Woodland Lane. The proposed structure would not align with the scale, the design of the neighboring homes, making the area less attractive for future buyers. I do have photos that I would like to give to the board.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening.
Anyone else? Come on up.
Good evening, Howard Goldberg, 36 Woodland Lane, Smithtown, New York. I'm diagonally across the street.
Just spell your last name, please.
Goldberg. Okay. I wasn't prepared for the 5 questions. I figured them out and put them on paper. If there's a way to explain that my neighbors had more eloquently explained what my feeling of my wife is also. So I want to say that I am in agreement with what they're saying. When the new neighbors purchased a home, it looked, and with the parking lot we're talking about, now it looks like it could be a mixed use. This is the appearance. It could be a mixed use. It could be a Airbnb, making the space wider, commercial looking parking. It doesn't fit the character. It's not what I moved there for or want to sell my house like, where I have a mixed use or a business across the street. Whether it's true, it's an appearance. That's all I'm discussing. I don't know anything else about the neighbor. The way I look at this structure is it's a second shed versus a second house. It's a living structure or another business or residence use that can happen, which is far beyond standard use of a garage, having a second floor like that. For what reason? It doesn't fit the character, and it's stuffing so much in a small space besides I'm not talking about the setbacks, that's for my neighbors to handle. Yes, the second question, yes, very substantial, not a garage. These area homes are already large, and they fall within the existing height and location, so it's uncharacteristic. It looks like a commercial business coming in there, the way they're presenting it. Yes, it seems the application is for like a second home in back, that there's a recent front parking area created for about 6 additional vehicles, which I don't know how that's possible to put 6 additional cars on your lawn and it's, like my neighbor said, we don't know if it's allowed. The last one, yes, self-created. My thought is that they purchased a house that doesn't fit their needs, and now they're impacting their new neighbors by height and especially setbacks. Those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Come on up.
Good evening. My name is Greg Campo, C-A-M-P-O. I live at 39 Woodland Lane. There's just one house in between us. Just on commentation, because a lot of it was handled, and I tend to agree with all that I've heard, but just driving past the house, when you see this huge driveway and parking spaces, I'm like, what's going on? There's going to be a private practice, and then when I saw the variance and received it, I'm just like, and a 2-story structure, I'm like, that's why I'm here tonight. I wasn't fully prepared, but I just want to set forth that definitely does not fit the rest of the neighborhood. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? All right. You guys want to come back up? Mr. Gleason?
Mr. Aguirre's sensitive to the neighbors that just spoke, the adjoining neighbors across the street, etc. I just want to issue about the parking, number one, which has nothing really to do with this hearing, but it is definitely a bump out for 3 cars alongside their driveway. It's currently covered with RCP, which will be paved with asphalt like every other driveway in the neighborhood. The parking are bollards, low-rise bumper bollards, so that the cars won't go into the lawn. Those will be removed. There will be cobblestone curbing to match what's there now, and landscaping around the perimeter of the portion of the new driveway. Okay, so it's under construction, and that's what we can say about that.
Do you know if the paving will meet the town requirement?
Yes, I believe that it will be under 25% coverage of the front yard. Again, with the concerns of the neighbors and especially the adjoining property that will be looking at this structure, garage, from the backyard, the board should note that there are a row of trees and a 6-foot vinyl fence that obscures views to Robert Aguirre's backyard. And at this time, we would still request a side yard setback variances, but the owner is willing to drop the height to 15 feet to come into code for an accessory structure at this time. Okay? As not concession, but a design alteration to make that part of a possible decision from the board. Is there any other questions, maybe, or I guess? I think-
No, but if you're willing to drop it to 15 feet and you're also willing to move it over to, into compliance, it's almost an as-of-right structure.
Almost, yes.
I think the only thing that you'll be missing is the combined side yard. Is
Yes.
that correct, please?
Right, the combined side yard, because it's still in the side yard technically, right? I mean,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Because I think,
Anyone else? Oh, sorry.
Sorry to
No, no,
interrupt.
go ahead.
I think that the intention was that the front right corner of the garage would move over approximately 4 feet. So that number would be 13 feet instead of 9. That was what would change, yes.
And if you drop to 15 feet, there's no longer a request from 1 story to 2, because it won't meet that.
We're just gonna have a ceiling in there, right? Yes, correct. Which is standard for a detached garage, I believe, yeah.
Okay, anyone else have any other questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, case closed, thank you.
Thank you.
Does that change the square footage too?
No.
Okay. I'm trying to make notes.
We'll go over. Thank you.
The next case on the agenda is case number 19370, Jason Birchoff, 3 Orest Street, Smithtown. The location of the property is the south side of Orest Street, 106 feet south of Lindgren Avenue. The property is owned R21. The applicant is requesting variances to reduce the minimum setback of a 4-foot retaining wall from the property line from 4 feet to 0, to permit environmentally sensitive lands to be altered for slopes greater than 15% for the existing 4-foot stone retaining wall.
Good evening.
Good evening. Jason Birchoff, Berchoff. Setback is for a,
You have 3 Arrest Street, right?
3 Aresti Street, yes. The 2 setbacks that we're talking about is one that is, they're both in the pool area. One will be behind the pool area, up against the fence line. It is only about, you could see the height walls, it's only about, I think, 2.5 feet right there in height, where it does increase in height going around. You could see the one spot right there along the fence, that's where I'm heading, talking about, and the other part is like 6 inches high off the ground, coming up to the white fence that is for a garden that we have inside the pool area. All these walls were pre-existing from me buying the house. And the only thing, I mean, it really makes no sense to pull the one wall that's inside the pool area that's really short. The only other one that is, I would say, a nuisance, not even a nuisance, is the one behind the pool area that is up there. But the only thing is, to pull that wall back, I would have to cut down a bunch of trees and regrade the slope that's back there. That's why I'm filing for a variance. I don't see no impact on any environmental cause, no impact on any of my neighbors. All their backyards all face my backyard. There is nothing in sight, nothing really happening back there. I don't know what else to really say about it. I just don't want to, be cutting down trees and everything else to try to re-slope everything and grade everything out.
First off, I want to say those are the most beautiful retaining walls I think I've ever seen.
They've been built right.
Really built well. I had a chance to look at it today, and it really doesn't, I had a tough time even finding the one that was on the application. Anyone on the board have any questions?
No, thank you.
Lace?
Thank you.
Sabrina?
No, thank you.
Anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Case closed.
Thank you very much.
The next case on the agenda is case number 19371, Kevin and Antoinette Ivins, 18 Sagebrush Lane, Kings Park. The location of the property, the northwest corner of Sagebrush Lane and Clover Lane. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 50 feet to 41 feet for a proposed two-story, 538-square-foot addition.
Kevin Ivins, I-V-I-N-S, 18 Sagebrush Lane, Kings Park, New York, 11754.
Good evening, Board. My name is George Holtz. I'm the architect for the applicant.
Address?
HOLZ, and address is 2052 Stuyvesant Avenue, East Meadow, New York.
Thank you.
Seeking a variance for a rear addition where we'll be reducing the rear yard from 50 to 41 feet. We're adding a total of 538 square feet of first and second floor. The existing area requires a building ratio of 30%. The house currently is only utilizing 15.7. The proposed is 19.6. The configuration of the house limits the areas of which you can expand, which leads us to the rear extension that they're seeking. Second floor would be a master suite, and the first floor would be an extension of the living area. It's a young family with 2 children. The overall square footage of the house is only about 1,500 square feet. This house would then, with the addition, be a little bit more in keeping with the neighborhood. It's well within the setbacks on all of the 3 other sides. It's a corner lot, which has created additional challenge for the property expansion. Overall square footage for the rear yard area is about 4,600 square feet. This encroachment of 9 feet times the width of the property, of the addition rather, only adds about 175 square feet, which is roughly about 4% of the overall rear yard. There are other houses in the area that have similar expansions into the back and the encroachment in the rear yard. We think that this would be well within the keeping of the neighborhood and add value to the house and to the neighborhood as well.
Anyone on the board have any questions?
Thank you. No, thank you.
Sabrina?
Thank you.
As determined by the building department, the current application to enlarge the existing single-family dwelling does require approval from the Department of Health. We need this information in order to complete our environmental review. We have notified Mr. Holes of our need, of his need to contact the health department, so no decision will be made until we receive that information.
We received a letter earlier this week. We'll be reaching out to the department
Okay.
shortly.
Thank you.
As soon as you can get that back to us, we can make a decision.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay.
Have a good one.
We have to see if anyone has any questions. Anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second?
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Case closed, thank you.
For your time.
The next case on the agenda is case number 19374, Allison Caffarone, 20 Cobb Lane, Comac. The location of the property is the southeast corner of Cobb Lane and Vance Street. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting variances to reduce the minimum front yard setback on Vance Street from 40 feet to 8 feet for a proposed 20-foot by 40-foot in-ground swimming pool, to reduce the minimum distance from any lot line from 6 feet to 1 foot for an existing 192-square-foot shed, to reduce the distance to the front lot line on Vance Street from 10 feet to 0 for an existing 6-foot PVC fence.
Good evening.
Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for your time. My name's Malcolm, like Malcolm in the Middle, to make it easier. Last name Gonzalez, Gonzalez. The pool contractor hopefully building a pool at the Caffarones, and I'm representing them tonight.
1 second. We have a power of attorney, correct? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. So we are attempting to build a pool, 20 by 40 rectangle. It's a corner lot, as you could see on the survey. We cannot put it in between the deck and the rear property, unfortunately. There's a deck, and it's also in a few of the pictures that we provided, there's overhead wires on the, that would make it on, there's overhead wires on one of the few of the pictures, if you don't mind going through. That shed's the one that we're asking for a variance also, but right behind you can see the pole. The electric line's going right over the top. That's the reason why we cannot put the pool in that back rear corner. And we're asking for the variance to allow us to build the pool on off Van Street, behind the house, behind the foundation of the home. The neighbor behind him, he was, his pool's about 4 feet currently right now off the property line, and that was an approved variance. I'm not sure on the day or the time of the day, but we're asking for 8 feet from the property line. From the fence line, there's another 10 feet to Van Street, so it's a total of 18 feet from the curb, which is what we're asking for.
Thank you. I did notice when I was there today that you're asking for the same exact thing that the neighbor does.
Not as much, not as much. His pool's 4 feet currently from the PVC
I'm
fence.
talking about the fence.
From the fence, yes.
Yeah, and it's the same setup where you have the same arborvitae's blocking the
Same
same fence.
setup, arborvitae's already in place, great
don't-
privacy.
Do you need to take any of those down to build the
No,
pool?
no trees will be removed. 2 sections of the PVC fence will be taken down to be able to bring the equipment in the backyard, which will be put back as we're done.
Okay. Anyone on the board have any questions? Planning,
Thank you.
Sabrina.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, a little encroachment. The survey submitted does show that a portion of the existing rear PVC fence and chain link fence encroach into the neighboring residential parcel to the east. Additionally, the pool appears to not be fully enclosed by fencing at the northeast and southeast corners, according to the survey provided.
Okay.
Just bring it to your
Do you
attention.
understand that?
Yes, yes, we do. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anyone in the audience like to be heard on this one? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Case closed. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
The next case on the agenda, case number 19379, Kevin Daly, 123 Walnut Road, Kings Park. The location of the property is the south side of Walnut Road, 100 feet east of Highland Drive. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 35 feet to 23 feet for an existing 170-square-foot rear second-story deck and existing 74-square-foot rear attached shed.
Good evening.
Good evening. Kevin Daly, 123 Walnut Road, D-A-L-Y. That's in Kings Park. First things first, I guess, I don't feel it's a detriment because the shed and the deck were both existing when I purchased the home. I was under the impression that everything was up to code. I was told so. Had no idea there was an issue. Both the deck and sheds are tastefully constructed, structurally built. I really see no issue with either of them. I really don't find that there's another solution to the structures as they're existing. My family and I both use them often for dinners on the deck, and the sheds you'll use for pool equipment and the storage of other materials to keep the yard looking nice and neat. I don't believe the requested variance to be substantial, as there's numerous other sheds and decks similar to mine on my block that are also tastefully done that don't seem to have any issues with those. They're both built the same as mine, similar setbacks. Not that I got a tape measure out there, but they look very similar to mine. I don't believe that these structures have an adverse effect on the environment or the neighborhood. As I said earlier, they're tastefully built. The shed has siding to match the rest of my house. You can't even tell it's a shed. It looks just like it's part of the home. The deck is built with TimberTech deck boards, AZEK railings. The deck joists are 2x10 at 12 on center. You know, it really doesn't seem like there's anything nefarious with the deck. And I don't believe this is self-imposed, as I purchased the home with these structures already existing. They've been there for 10-plus years, up to my knowledge. And like I said, I haven't fielded any complaints from any neighbors or anything like that, so that's pretty much it.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Anyone on the board have any questions? Planning.
Well, thank you.
Sabrina?
No, thank you.
Anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
We need a second. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Case closed. Thank you. No, that's all from that. That's garbage. We can toss it. He's getting it all.
The next case on the agenda is case number 19373, Matthew LaBroya, 8 Chestnut Stump Road, Northport. The location of the property, the west side of Chestnut Stump Road, 240 feet south of Sunken Meadow Road. The property is zoned R43. The applicant is requesting variances to increase the number of permitted stories from 2.5 to 3, to increase the maximum gross floor area of a lot from 20 to 25%, to reduce the minimum front yard setback from 60 feet to 16 feet for a proposed 132 square foot first floor deck, proposed 220 square foot front roof over, proposed 91 square foot second floor deck, and proposed 812 square foot second floor addition. To reduce the front yard setback from 60 feet to 25 feet for an existing 291 square foot floor screened room, second floor screened room, and existing 760 square foot rear deck. Reduce the minimum side yard from 24 feet to 2 feet for an existing 147 square foot shed. Reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 100 feet to 23 feet for a proposed 812 square foot second floor addition, proposed 132 square foot first floor deck, and proposed 91 square foot front second floor deck. Reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 100 feet to 25 feet for an existing 291 square foot second floor screen room. Reduce the minimum distance from any lot line from 10 feet to 0 for an existing 760 square foot rear deck, existing 147 square foot shed, and 49 square foot shed. Permitted wall greater than 4 feet in the required front yard for existing retaining walls 1, 4, 5, and 6, to increase the maximum height of a retaining wall from 4 feet to 8 feet for walls 1, 4, 5, and 6, to reduce the minimum setback of a 4-foot retaining wall from the property line from 4 feet to 0 for walls 2, 7, and 8, to permit environmentally sensitive lands to be altered for slopes greater than 15% for proposed 3-foot block retaining wall number 9, to permit construction within 10 feet of any slope greater than 25%, adding to a lawful non-conforming structure.
Good evening, Matthew LaBroya, Libroia, from 8 Chestnut Stump Road, Northport, New York, with my architect, George Sudell, who's going to speak on my behalf, and I'm here for questions if necessary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Chairman, member of the board, good to meet all of you. When the LaBroia family, young family, they have two small.
Spell your last name? I'm sorry.
Siddell, S is in Sam, U, D, D, E, L, L. Address is 224 Laurel Avenue, Northport, New York.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sorry, forgot. Anyways, when the LaBroias first came to me to work and add a primary suite on their home, the most obvious thing, because it's a very difficult site, and everything that was explained just now, all the variances, are mostly for existing non-conforming structures that they inherited when they bought the house. Being a difficult site, the only natural thing to do, and it seemed like a simple application, was add a primary suite on the second floor of the house, which we want to do. And the house presently right now, and that's why I gave you the renderings and I gave you some photographs on the other side of that to show that the existing house is really basically a ranch with a walkout basement on the front yard of the property. That's how the house was built. What we wanted to do architecturally is give the house some real architectural character, which I think is an improvement to what existingly sits there now. And it's the only application that makes sense, is to go up rather than go out to the sides, because the house is very narrow. The house is narrow and the site is narrow. Right now, I've never come across this before in any of the projects I've ever worked on, where their front yard is 6 feet into the rear yard, and their rear yard is on the street, and the front yard is just, because of setbacks, I have a 60-foot, a site that's about 75 feet wide, and I have a 60-foot front yard and a 100-foot rear yard based on the zoning. So it's just a very convoluted site. They love where they live, and it's a beautiful located area because it's heavily wooded, but the detriment is that they've got all this steep slope that they have to contend with. So what we wanted to do was simply add about an 800 square foot second floor primary suite on the second floor, which 100 square feet is circulation, staircase to get up to that. So the suite in itself is only about 700 and change, 712 square feet as far as the living space for their bedroom upstairs. And if you look at the first floor plans, their existing bedroom right now is only 11 by 13. And they have to, him and his wife have to share a 6-foot closet. And it's deficient. They have 2 children, a boy and a girl. That bedroom becomes the daughter's bedroom, and then the son has a bedroom. He has a hall bathroom that he can use. So it works out well for them. And the bedroom count stays the same because we took the daughter's bedroom, which was like a walk-in closet, very small. That now is our staircase to get us up to the second floor. So the bedroom count stays the same, so we did not need relief from Board of Health. We don't feel that this particular project is a detriment in any way, although it sounds complicated because everything that we talked about, all the relief we're looking for, the retaining walls, are all pre-existing structures, as well as some of the sheds. There is one retaining wall on the rear yard side property that goes beyond the property line that the LaBroyas have agreed to remove. And we're going to take that off and just build another retaining wall that's about 3 feet and change in front of it, just to stabilize a patio or some retaining wall from the neighbor behind them, so they don't want to cause a problem with that. Again, this application was nothing more than really adding a primary suite on the second floor, so they still stay as a 3-bedroom house. And the FAR, to address FAR as part of the variance relief, the way it works is that we have to calculate any steep slope more greater than 15%. We can't count that into our FAR calculation. If this were a perfectly level site, they could build a structure 5,600 square feet. But because they lost half the property due to steep slope, they're only allowed to do a 3,100 square foot extension, and we're actually only adding 800 square feet to the second floor, which constitutes about 3,900 square feet, overall. So again, I don't see anything detrimental. I think it's a good-looking design. I designed it, but so we think it's an attractive-looking design. It fits the neighborhood, certainly better than what's there, and I don't see any detriment to the neighborhood or to the environmental concerns because it's second floor only. That's all we're doing.
Thank you. Anyone on the board have any questions?
Thank you.
No? Blaze?
No, thank you.
Sabrina?
Mr. Chairman, one encroachment comment. The survey indicates that portions of existing retaining walls 7 and 8 encroach into the town right-of-way, which is along Chestnut Stump Road. We recommend that the applicant contact the Highway Department regarding whether this encroachment can be maintained or not.
Sure. Okay.
You understand that one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, case closed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
That's an older picture of that. Why does it Okey-doke. The next case on the agenda is case number 19372, BDTP LLC, VinFast, 840 Middle Country Road, St. James. The location of the property is the south side of Middle Country Road, 631 feet west of Cambon Avenue. The property is zoned WSI. The applicant is requesting variances to increase the maximum area of a ground sign from 40 square feet to 79 square feet for sign number 4, to increase the maximum area of a wall sign from 144 square feet to 327 square feet for wall signs numbers 2 and 3, to increase the maximum height of a wall sign from 15 feet to 22 feet for sign number 2, to increase the maximum number of wall signs from 1 to 3, to permit a wall sign above another wall sign for sign number 3.
Hi, my name is Brett Saslow. I'm the owner of 840 Middle Country Road, BTTP LLC, and I'd like to have Christina Bravin from Morano Expediting speak in my behalf, please.
Okay. Did you get the spelling, or you need the spelling on that? Got it?
Good evening again, Christina Bravin, Morano Expediting, P.O. Box 39, Bethpage, New York, 11714. Okay, the proposed signage is for a new automotive brand, VinFast. This is a Vietnamese manufactured electric vehicle. This will be the first dealership to open on Long Island, bringing a unique product to the area. The property was previously occupied by Great Oak Marina, and they're proposing 3 wall signs: the V logo, which is the VinFast corporate logo, the word VinFast, which is the vehicle make, and then Smith Haven, which is the dealer name. Now, each sign consists of individually illuminated channel letters, and so for calculation purposes, the building department will draw a outermost, a bounding box on the outermost height and width. So this results in 320 square feet of signage. However, the actual letter and logo area only total 81.05 square feet, substantially less. So if the building department was measuring each section separately, no relief would be required. The facade height is 22 feet to the roof line, and the top of the VinFast sign will be 17 feet from grade, which is only slightly above the maximum allowed, and it's consistent with the building's architectural proportions. The applicant also proposes a 79 square foot monument-style ground sign, consistent with the modern designs of today's automotive industry. You've seen these all over Middle Country Road. Toyota has it. We've been here before the board for them. This stretch of Middle Country Road contains numerous dealerships, as you're already aware, most of which have 2 to 3 wall signs. So we feel this is in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. And the proposed signage aligns closely with those patterns that other dealerships have. The scale is appropriate for the building and for the lot. And the signage will ensure that the public can easily identify the location, particularly given that VinFast is new and unfamiliar in the marketplace and to the location. This is essential for the success of this dealership to contribute to the economic development of the brand. And so for these reasons, we feel the request, as it is before you, is not considered substantial. It's not a detriment to the neighborhood. It's in keeping with many dealerships. It cannot be achieved by any other way because it would drastically reduce visibility. The signage is facing Middle Country Road only. It would not impact the adjacent area in a negative way, adjacent properties in any negative way, because it's not facing other businesses or residences. And that concludes our application. If you have any questions, I have full sets of drawings here. Happy to answer.
Anyone have any questions?
No.
No? Please?
No, thank you.
Sabrina?
No, thank you.
Anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second?
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Case is closed. Thank you.
Thank you, have a good evening.
You too.
Christina, did you come here for one second?
You all right?
Okey-doke. What do we have to acknowledge here? The next case on the agenda is case number 19377, Enology, 412 North Country Road, St. James. The location of the property is the east side of North Country Road, 451 feet north of Edgewood Avenue. The property is zoned CB. The applicant is requesting a variance to increase the number of wall signs from a maximum of 1 to 3 for a proposed 38 square foot and 31 square foot wall signs.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Paula Ruiz, R-U-I-C. Paula, P-A-U-L-A. Ruiz, R-U-I-C. R-U-I-Z. My office is located at 435 Brook Avenue, Deer Park, New York, 11729. I'm here with Universal Signs. I'm the agent for the applicant.
Do we have a power of attorney?
You should have it.
Hang on one second. It's not in the packet. Can you check the file?
Is the applicant here?
No.
No, okay. Hmm?
Yeah, that's good enough. It's not a power of attorney, but it's a letter.
Send it down to Rachel.
That's good. That's good. We're good.
We're good. Okay. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm here to ask for permission to increase the number of wall signs from 1 to 3. The biggest wall sign is going to be 38 square feet, and it's going to read wines, spirits, and small plates. The lettering itself, it's only 15 square feet. The other sign, it's only 31 square feet, and the lettering is 14 square feet, and it's going to read wine, bar, and bistro. I believe there is no negative impact to the environment or the neighborhood, since the signs are not illuminated.
Anyone on the board have any questions?
Thank you.
Planning?
Well, thank you.
Sabrina?
No, thank you.
Anyone in the audience like to be heard on this case? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second?
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Case closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next one's adjourned. 30th. This one we have is PAR on.
The next case on the agenda is case number 19345, Good Meats LLC, 430 Wireless Boulevard, Hauppauge. The location of the property is the north side of Wireless Boulevard, 524 feet west of Adams Avenue. The property is owned LI. The applicant is requesting a special exception for a trucking station, a variance to eliminate the required landscaped islands for parking spaces.
You don't have any bigger plans, do you?
Those darn surveyors with their large-scale plans.
You right there, Aiden?
So actually, what you have there is the survey, it's not the site plan. Do you have a site plan in your package?
Nope, survey. It's, I think it's on here. There you go. Thanks.
It is cold in here, so we might hear a bit of upstairs. No, I don't need it. I know.
For the record, my name is Chris Tartaglia from High Point Engineering, 1860 Walt Whitman Road, Melville, New York, 11747, and I'm appearing tonight on behalf of the applicant. Okay, so as is typical for Blaze and the staff over there in planning, they've done a wonderful job on their memo. I'm assuming the board has read it. Really, this case that we're on tonight is just seeking two items of relief from the board. One is a modification of a special exception to permit a trucking station at the facility, and the second is a variance to eliminate landscape islands at the rear of the property. Just taking a quick step back for the history of the site, the board may be familiar with this existing facility. It was operated as the food authority for, I believe, somewhere around 20 years prior to my client's purchase, which was essentially almost the same use where they handled and distributed various types of foods. In this particular case, Casanova Meats is the operating entity. They are combining two of their existing facilities. One is in West Babylon, and the other one is in the Hunts Point Market. And they are consolidating both of those businesses to here in Hauppauge in our town of Smithtown, which I'm happy to see. So with that, discussing the variances, and I know that plan's a little smaller than the gigantic one that you had, but the variance here is quite minimal. But starting with the special exception, so as Blaze's memo indicates, the applicant meets all of the standards, the 13 general standards for the special exception. So I could walk through all 13, but the fact that planning has confirmed that we've met them, I assume that may not be necessary?
No, it's not.
Okay, so then on to the variances. So what we're doing, and the reason why I handed out the colored plan there, we are proposing 36 truck parking stalls in the rear of the property along the north. Those stalls are completely obscured by the building itself. There are no planned extensions or modifications of the building, and the entire parking area is effectively remaining the same. All we're really doing is locating 36 box truck stalls to the rear of the building. The reason why we are hoping to get relief and not install the landscape islands is because, as those of you who may be familiar with how truck facilities operate, landscape islands don't live very long in a trucking facility. They tend to get run over. Any kind of landscaping you put within them lasts a couple of weeks, and that's the end of it.
And I think one of the more salient points with this application is that the front of the property and the side where the employee parking is, there are already landscape islands provided. So essentially, if you drove by this facility, you would believe that the site is fully compliant. You'd have to drive in and then around the back of the site to see that there are no landscape islands. So we believe the variance, although somewhat significant in that we need a 100% variance because we're not providing any of those landscape islands for the new truck stalls, we believe it's a far better layout and a far safer means of designing this facility. So with that, my presentation is kind of short and sweet, but I'm certainly here to answer any questions.
We'll see. Anyone have any questions?
No.
No? Planning?
Mr. Chairman, as Mr. Tartaglia stated, planning did prepare a planning advisory report after reviewing the application. It does meet all the requirements for the special exception standards for a trucking station and a minor variance for the removal of landscape islands. Therefore, we recommended approval.
DEW?
No, thank you.
Anyone in the audience like to be heard on this one? Being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second?
Motion to second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so it's up to you to
Case
close this.
closed.
Thank you. Good evening.
We're gonna need a few minutes. This goes to, right?
All right. The next case on the agenda is case number 19376, 250 Wireless LLC, 250 Wireless Boulevard, Hauppauge, the location of the property, the north side of Wireless Boulevard, 1,200 feet east of Moreland Road. The property is zoned LI. The applicant is requesting a special exception to permit a trucking station, a variance to increase the maximum height of a retaining wall from 6 feet to 8 feet, a variance to reduce the minimum parking from 251 to 127 spaces.
Good evening.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. For the record, Dan Pedersen, Bowler Engineering, 275 Broad Hollow Road, Melville, New York. Here on behalf of the applicant, 250 Wireless LLC. This application is for the special exception to permit a trucking station, a variance to increase the maximum permitted height of a retaining wall from 6 feet to 8 feet, and a variance to increase or to reduce the minimum required parking from 251 to 127 parking spaces. Just for some history on the project, the site was previously approved for a parking variance on August 13th, 2020 by this board. The variance was granted for 187 parking stalls where 227 were required. 32 of those parking stalls are along the northerly boundary of the property line. This application would effectively remove those 32 parking stalls and provide 29 truck parking stalls in their place. As a result of that construction, the applicant would need to install an 8-foot high retaining wall. 10 of the loading stalls would be 40 foot in length for box truck parking. 19 of those truck parking stalls would be 48 foot for tractor trailers. There's going to be no changes inside the building, no changes to the operation, and no changes to ownership. As required by the special exception standards, the trucking station is at least 500 feet from a church, school, library, playground, or similar location used for public assembly. The site is significantly greater than the minimum requirement of 20,000 square feet at over 217,000 square feet, and all signage complies with the zoning ordinance. There's no signage component of this application. With respect to the retaining wall, all efforts have been made to maintain the buffer to the north. The location of the retaining wall provides a greater buffer than what the prior approved plan has. There was some land bank parking that was 6 feet off the north property line. The retaining wall will be 16.5 feet off the north property line. The height of the retaining wall above 6 feet going up to 8 feet, that's just a function of the elevation of the parking lot in relation to the grades on the adjacent property. There's really two theoretical ways to reduce the height of that wall. One would be to raise the back portion of the parking lot by 2 feet, which isn't really feasible because the site grades would be excessively steep. The other option would be to move that retaining wall further into the property, but that kind of defeats the whole purpose of getting those truck parking stalls along the rear. With respect to the parking variance, the parking for this site, as similar to many other industrial uses, it's determined mainly by the employee traffic. There's no customer component to this facility. So per discussions with ownership, there's sufficient parking on site with the 111 constructed parking stalls. As at a maximum peak parking, there will be 90 vehicles, and that includes the trucks. And that's based on information provided by the tenant. That does not include carpooling and public transportation, which is anticipated to even further reduce the parking impact here. Additionally, based on ITE, this size of this building would require only about 87 parking stalls, which is in line with our client's demand. With the 111 constructed parking stalls, this provides a approximate 20% excess capacity. Being that we are in the Hauppauge Industrial District, these modifications and these variances would not create an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood or nearby properties. I've gone through that. The options to, other options to achieve this are pretty much unfeasible. The variance, the parking variance may seem substantial, but in the grand scheme of things with industrial properties, this is kind of pretty customary. And then the variance for the retaining wall, I mean, it's 2 feet, but again, it's not really significant. And then, as I mentioned, there's going to be no adverse impact on the environmental conditions of the neighborhood or the district because this is in the industrial district. While the variances may be self-created, they are necessary to carry out the operations of the business. Any questions?
I'll find out. Anyone have any questions?
No.
Planning.
Mr. Chairman, Planning prepared a planning advisory report for this application. After review of the application, the request for the special exception meets all of the criteria for the special exception standards, and with the minor variances for the high increase in height of the retaining wall and reduction of the parking, which is consistent, as Mr. Pedersen said, with the operation of the business, we recommended approval.
DEW? Anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second?
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Case closed. Thank you.
The next case on the agenda, case number 19368, CPIOS Acquisitions LLC, 190 Town Line Road, Kings Park. The location of the property, the east side of Town Line Road, 1,907 feet south of Old Northport Road. The property is zoned LI. The applicant is requesting a special exception to permit a trucking station and a special exception to permit outdoor storage. Variance of a special exception standard to allow the outdoor storage area to exceed the gross floor area from 1 times to 67 times the gross floor area. A variance of a special exception standard to reduce the minimum setback for outdoor storage from 100 feet to 0, and to reduce the densely planted buffer from 100 feet to 50 feet. A variance of a special exception standard to increase the height of outdoor storage from 6 feet to 10 feet. A variance of a special exception standard to eliminate the full enclosure of the outdoor storage area with a 6-foot solid wood fence. Variance of a special exception standard of no loading or unloading between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 a.m. A variance to increase the maximum height of a fence from 6 feet to 10 feet. A variance to reduce the minimum required parking from 56 to 30 spaces. To reduce the minimum parking setback from the front property line from 50 feet to 0. To reduce the minimum parking setback from the side property line from 6 feet to 0. To reduce the minimum parking setback from the rear property line from 6 feet to 0. To reduce the minimum width of a drive aisle from 24 feet to 22 feet. To eliminate the required landscape islands in parking areas at the end of rows for a proposed 3,500 square foot, 1-story commercial building.
That's a mouthful.
I need a drink.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Garrett Gray, Gray, Weber Law Group, 290 Broad Hollow Road, Melville, New York, for the applicant. I am here today representing CPIOS Acquisitions LLC, which is a real estate holding company wholly owned by Dolphin Industrial, D-A-L-F-E-N, which is the contract vendee of the subject property. Joining me this evening are John Lettieri, Dolphin's market officer, Sean Ebert, an associate at Dolphin, and Lauren McMahon, project engineer at Langen Engineering, the project's engineers. The subject property is located on the east side of Town Line Road, approximately 1,907 feet south of Old Northport Road, with an address of 190 Town Line Road in the hamlet of Kings Park, also known as Section 23, Block 3, Lot 8 on the Suffolk County tax map. The lot is approximately 6 acres and is zoned LI Light Industrial, which permits the proposed project with a special permit from this board. The entire area surrounding the property is zoned industrial. So you can see to my right, this is an aerial view of the site as well as the surrounding area. Applicant first plans to clean up the site, which is now in disarray with huge wood piles, decrepit structures, and an overall blighted nature. Our site plan shows the removal of these items. Once cleaned up, applicant plans to utilize the site for an outdoor storage leasing business. In other words, customers will lease portions of the site in order to store trucks, machinery, goods, etc. This outdoor storage will be an accessory use to the new 1-story 50 by 70 structure that will be constructed by applicant and out of which applicant will run the business. It is important to note a few items. An almost identical business is run by our neighbor to the south at 200 Town Line Road, with special permits and variances granted from this board, which I will point out later, but less than a year ago. As a matter of fact, this board granted many of the variances sought by applicant today to other applicants in this area. If you look at the red line, this is what I considered the general surrounding area, and I looked at all BZA decisions concerning properties in this area. We'll talk about that soon also. We believe this site to be the ideal for this project. It's located in a completely industrial area with absolutely no residential neighbors abutting or even close to the property. It is literally next door to the same type of business that was before this board only a year ago, and it fills a need for customers in an area where businesses of this type should be located. We have had several meetings, including a property walking tour with planning staff. While not expressing any negative concerns about the project, planning staff did emphasize that it was extremely important to them that we maintain a 50-foot densely landscaped buffer on the westerly side of the property along Town Line Road. Our plan shows that we agree to this request. Just a few words about the applicant. Dolphin Industrial is one of the nation's largest buyers of industrial real estate, with a strategic focus on last-mile properties in the nation's top markets, close to customers and strategically located to meet the growing e-commerce and logistics demand. As a real estate investment manager, Dolphin's experienced team of real estate experts acquires, develops, and manages millions of square feet of premier commercial properties out of their 9 North American offices. Dolphin has won a plethora of awards in both the national and local real estate communities, and based on their experience, notoriety, and awards of excellence, they can certainly be trusted to run an efficient, clean, and respectable operation at this site. Now, I always think it's important that this board puts a face to the applicant, so I would like to just quickly introduce John Lettieri of Dolphin, just to say a few words about the company.
Good evening, Chairman and Board. Thank you for making the time for us tonight. My name is John Lettieri. Do you need me to spell that? Lettieri, and my office is at 17304 Preston Road, Dallas, Texas. I'm originally a Long Island resident, born and raised in Eastern Suffolk County. Traveled up here to be here tonight in front of you. As Garrett mentioned, we are a real estate holding company. We are a family-owned company. We specialize in the ownership and management of industrial and low-coverage industrial outdoor storage sites. So we have in-house property management where we manage and lease all of these sites and maintain them. Our local office is just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where we have a team of about 6 people that would be managing this property.
Thank you.
Now, as has been said before me, planning staff has prepared a wonderful planning memorandum that I'm sure all of you have reviewed, and we have comported our plan to comply with that memorandum in most respects. I always like to begin by listing the variances that we are no longer seeking. As luck would have it, all of these variances were not recommended for approval by planning staff. So we no longer request a variance to reduce the minimum parking setback from the front property line from 50 feet to 0 feet. We no longer request a variance to reduce the minimum parking setback from the rear property line from 6 feet to 0 feet. We no longer request a variance to reduce the minimum parking setback from the side property line from 6 feet to 0 feet. With regard to our requested variance to increase the maximum height of a fence, wall, or berm from 6 feet to 10 feet, we would like to limit that variance only with respect to existing walls. All fences will be 6 feet in height, and any new wall that is constructed would be 6 feet in height. Only those portions that are 10 feet now would stay. In the interest of time, I'll group certain special permit and variance requests together. We are seeking a special permit for a trucking station and outdoor storage in the LI district. These special permits are necessary in order to operate the business, as trucks may be stored on the property in addition to other materials. These special permits were granted to our neighbor to the south at 200 Town Line Road in case numbers 19067 and 17941. They were also granted to several property owners in the area in case numbers 18971, 13830, and 4012. Additionally, as this will be an outdoor storage business, we are seeking a variance of the special permit standard that outdoor storage not exceed the gross floor area of the principal use from 1 times the gross floor area to 67 times the gross floor area. In case number 17941, this board granted our neighbor to the south a similar variance for 60 times the gross floor area, which is virtually identical to the 67 times we are requesting, given the size of our neighbor's building vis-a-vis the lot size. Planning staff recommends approval of these special permits and the variance. Similarly, we are requesting a variance from the special exception standard for outdoor storage to reduce the minimum setback from 100 feet to 0 feet and to reduce the densely planted buffer from 100 feet to 50 feet. As a matter of fact, the minimum setback from the front property line for outdoor storage is greater than 100 feet, so we are not seeking that. The need for the reduction of the minimum setback distance is obvious given the nature of the proposed business. We agree with the planning staff condition that all outdoor storage be a minimum of 100 feet setback from Town Line Road, and we have provided the agreed-upon 50-foot densely vegetated buffer. We are seeking a variance to increase the height of outdoor storage from 6 feet to 10 feet. We agree with the planning board condition that storage containers be permitted to be 10 feet in height, and that everything else be 6 feet. We should also clarify that tractor trailers can be 14 feet high. Everything else will be a maximum of 6 feet in height. I should also note that we will be removing these wood piles that I can only deem to be sky high that are presently abundant on the site. We are seeking a parking variance to reduce minimum parking from 56 spaces to 30 spaces. As this is an outdoor storage facility, the number of parking spaces that will be used is well below the 30 spaces provided. Indeed, it is somewhat akin to a self-storage warehouse where items may be left for long periods of time until they are needed, thus requiring a much lower number of parking spaces. This board, in case number 18971, while granting special permits for a trucking station and outdoor storage to property located at 2 Old Northport Road, also granted a parking variance from 48 spaces to 30 spaces, quite similar to the variance we are requesting. I should also note that the layout set forth in our site plan, which you all have in front of you, is conceptual in nature, as it will ultimately be determined by client need. Planning had asked us for a proposed layout, so we came up with one that would maximize, if you will, the parking variance needed in order that we did not have to keep coming back before this board every time we signed a new tenant. So, for example, we don't anticipate needing as many truck parking spaces as is indicated on the plan. However, to quote-unquote cover ourselves, we listed it there, but should it not be needed, those can always be converted to additional parking spaces. We are also seeking a variance of the special exception standard to eliminate the requirement of no loading or unloading from 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. First and most importantly, given the heavy industrial nature of the surrounding area, as well as the far distance to the first residential property, absolutely no one is going to hear or be bothered or adversely affected by loading and unloading during this time. Additionally, many outdoor storage tenants deliver and pick up stored materials during this time. Planning staff recommends approval of this variance. As stated, with regard to the height of the fence walls berm, we are seeking a variance to increase the maximum height of the existing walls only from 6 feet to 10 feet. Simply put, removal and replacement of the spans of existing wall would be extremely costly in nature. We would, however, agree to a condition that if these walls are ever replaced, their height will not exceed 6 feet. We are seeking a variance, just like the last application, to eliminate the landscaped islands. As I previously stated, we don't know what tenants will require what square footages of space. It's therefore impractical to have landscaped islands just to... Absolutely. Sure. It is simply impractical to have landscape islands just to dig them up if a tenant needs the space that they are occupying. Also, this is an outdoor storage facility. There is really no need to beautify the internal portion of the site when absolutely nobody is going to see it. And finally, while the minimum required landscaping percentage is 18%, we are providing 26.7%, well in excess of the required minimum. Again, planning staff recommends approval of this variance. Finally, we are seeking the reduction of the minimum width of the drive aisle from 24 to 22 feet along the north side of the property. While planning staff recommends denial of this variance in order to, quote, provide adequate space for two-way traffic, however, given the nature and use of this site, it is the very rare occasion that cars would be traveling both ways on the drive aisle at the same time. Again, this is an outdoor storage site, not a bustling office or warehouse site, and the cost to add these extra 2 feet of drive aisle when the goal stated by planning won't be affected by the addition of these 2 feet simply does not make sense, and this variance should be granted. Planning listed, again, 7 conditions that they recommend this board adopt. Let me just quickly go through them. Condition number 1, with regard to height. One sec. Condition number 1, that outdoor storage not exceed 6 feet in height except for shipping containers, which are permitted up to 10 feet in height. Outdoor storage shall not exceed 6 feet in height except for shipping containers, which are permitted up to 10 feet in height. We are fine with that condition so long as it is clarified that tractor trailers can be 14 feet in height, as the code provides. Condition 2, that all proposed outdoor storage and truck stalls shall be set back a minimum of 100 feet from Town Line Road, and the 50-foot berm, 50-foot densely vegetated buffer. We agree to this condition. Condition number 3, all fencing and walls shall be limited to 6 feet in height. We agree to this condition as it relates to fences and future walls, just not existing walls. Condition 4, all parking shall meet the minimum 6-foot required setback and the densely planted buffer in the front yard. We agree to this condition. Condition 5 regards the 22 versus 24-foot drive aisle. As I previously stated, the cost of adding the additional 2 feet to the northerly drive aisle more than outweighs any benefit that could be achieved, because you're just not going to have two-way traffic at any one time. Condition 6, regarding the installation of on-site drainage. We agree to install on-site drainage with regard to the new 3,500 square foot building we will be constructing, as is indicated on our site plan. However, as we are not really making changes to the balance of the site, we do not feel that it would be our financial obligation to install drainage on the entire 6-acre site and would be extremely cost prohibitive. Finally, condition 7, which is any change to the conditions, requires us to come back to this board. We are fine with. Quickly going through the 5 factors. First, no negative impact on adjacent properties would occur, as only industrial properties are located in the vicinity of the subject property. In fact, one of the adjacent properties is involved in the same outdoor storage business. While some of the variances may be considered substantial, this board has considered that factor when granting similar or identical variances to neighboring properties, which feeds into number 3. The benefit simply cannot be achieved by any other means. Absent the granting of the requested variances, there is no other way applicant could operate an outdoor storage business on this site. Number 4, there would be no adverse effect on the environment. This is an outdoor storage business, therefore there will be no constant traffic to and from the site. There will be no adverse odors, emanations, and noise from the site, and we will be eliminating the wood piles and other decrepit structures that presently exist, which currently pose a dangerous fire hazard to surrounding property owners. And finally, while the difficulty may be considered self-created, the town code, while providing standards for outdoor storage, provides no standards for an outdoor storage business such as this. So to that extent, it's not that self-created. The entire team is here to answer any questions anyone has. And as I've said, we want to be a good neighbor, and we have worked with the town to come up with a project that works for this area and is something that is needed in this town. And Dolphin's track record speaks for itself. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Question, the 10-foot high walls that you're referring to, do you have on the plan where they're located? Because I don't see any that say 10 foot.
We have our engineer here to answer that.
Just have her introduce herself. And
Oh, sure. forget to spell your last name. She's really into that.
Good evening, Board. My name is Lauren McMahon with Lane Engineering. I'm a professional engineer and project manager there. My name is Lauren, last name McMahon, McMahon.
And just
Thank you.
address for the record.
Address 520 Tuckahoe Road in Yonkers.
Thank you.
So we went out.
Just grab it.
We had measured various spots on the walls throughout the site. There's, a lot of different walls that segment different tenant portions of the site existing. And they vary in size. So some of the walls are 4 feet, some are 5, some are 6. But the highest wall portion that we had measured is up here in the northeast portion of the site, and that was 8.9. So that was the highest portion of wall on the site that we had measured. So that's why we went with a 10-foot variance for that.
But that's the only location, correct?
Yeah, that's the
There-
highest location.
The rest on the site seem to be between 4 and 6. Is that correct?
Yeah, 6.5. There's 7.9 at this middle point.
Are we going to have something that we can highlight so it's easier for us to understand what they're talking about?
I'm not sure if we have a site plan that's been highlighted with the walls. We'll take a look. I don't think we do. There may be one in the file, but,
We have the same, we just have the same site plan.
Yeah.
That has the,
Maybe internally, before we make a decision, if we can get one that shows us which walls are higher.
okay.
That's the only thing I had.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions?
Nope.
Yeah.
Is there lighting throughout the site?
Is it going to be lighted? Coming up. You already introduced yourself.
There is some current site lighting. It really depends on the types of occupants that end up occupying the site on the level of lighting and security that they need. So typically, we'll spec out some lighting at the onset, but we try and keep it limited until we know who our tenants are going to end up being and what they need specifically.
The only other comment I would make for the record had to do with the drainage. This board, obviously, we don't have jurisdiction over whether you do or do not have to put drainage. I believe that's entirely up to the town engineer. So,
We'll deal with them.
I think and he's pretty tough, so.
So am I.
Blaze, did you have anything?
Well, Mr. Gray was kind enough to go through my entire planning advisory report, so I really don't have any comments to make about that. The only thing I will say is that, the conditions that we recommended were based upon improvements that we thought could be made to the site with respect to, and I don't say this to be funny, but to try to beautify the area. Currently, the town is actually going through a substantial review of all of the properties along Town Line Road and Old Northport Road. I'm sure the board is familiar with the entire area, what's going on over there, the condition of every site, and the town board's not happy, obviously, with the condition of the properties that are over there, how they're being maintained, the types of things that are being stored on them, and the town board is being proactive on going through that area, cleaning it up, trying to get people to comply as best as they can with the zoning ordinance. So the recommendations that we made, the conditions that we placed on our conditional approval of this application were based on what we feel the town is looking for on a whole with respect to this area of the town. And the board should be aware that we're probably going to have many more applications like this that will come before the board.
Thank you.
And as you heard, we agreed with the vast majority of those conditions, and it's our goal to clean up the site from what it is now.
On your tenants, are you going to have limit to hazardous materials? Tenants, are you going to have in the agreements where they will not be able to store hazardous materials, anything on this site?
So,
Yeah, as you can imagine, as a property owner, we typically do not like tenants storing hazardous materials. It's normally something we restrict in all of our leases.
And you're going to like inspect every once in a while?
Yeah, so, as a part of the way we function as a business, as I had mentioned, we have an in-house property management team. So we have property managers on staff that visit properties on a biweekly cadence. So we're obviously, we don't have an office that's present in Long Island. Our nearest office is in Philadelphia, but our property manager that sits there would be out here at least once a month, setting eyes on the property and making sure the property is, one, being maintained to our standard, but also making sure, tenants are not doing anything nefarious.
Sabrina?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. To ensure full compliance with our environmental review, we wish to consider information that was presented by the applicant, as well as any comments that may be received by the public before we make a recommendation to the board. So therefore, no decision will be made tonight. Thank you.
and I will I'll email Blaze a copy of the site plan with those portions of wall/fence that are higher than 6 feet highlighted.
Perfect. Thank you. Anyone in the audience?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you very much.
Have a good night. Then there was one. Yeah. We're going to take a 5-minute break.
The next case on the agenda, case number 19037, Basser Kaufman of Smithtown LLC, Starbucks. The location of the property is Middle Country Road in Wisconsin, the southwest corner of Middle Country Road and Alexander Avenue. The property is owned WSI. The applicant is requesting variances to reduce the distance of a queue lane from a residential district from 50 feet to 26 feet, to reduce the minimum required truck loading space from 1 to 0, to reduce the minimum parking setback from the front property line from 25 feet to 18 feet along Alexander Avenue, to increase the number of ground signs from a maximum of 1 per parcel to 8 for sign numbers 1 through 8, to increase the number of wall signs from a maximum of 1 to 6 signs for signs 9 through 14, to increase the maximum height of a wall sign from 15 to 20 feet on the west elevation for sign number 9, to increase the maximum height of a wall sign from 15 feet to 17 feet on the west elevation for sign number 10, to increase the maximum height of a wall sign from 15 feet to 19 feet on the north elevation for sign number 11, to increase the maximum height of a wall sign from 15 feet to 18 feet on the north elevation for sign number 12, to increase the maximum height of a wall sign from 15 feet to 20 feet on the east elevation for sign number 14, to permit a wall sign not to face a public street for sign numbers 9, 10, and 13, for proposed 2,548 square foot food retail building to be used as a Starbucks.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Grace Baymack, B-A-Y-M-A-C-K, from the law offices of Vincent Trimarco Sr., 1040 West Jericho Turnpike, Smithtown. We represent the applicant. I submitted the affidavits of posting to the board. As you're all aware, Mr. Trimarco cannot be with us tonight. He sends his apologies. And as you all aware, that's very big shoes for me to fill tonight. And actually, you can't fill a legend's shoes. And he will be back with you very shortly with all his expertise. So with that said, we started this application in February of 2022. We've had multiple meetings with the planning department. The planning department was always available to advise, directed our applicant, and our clients appreciate that very much. We also understand the concerns, not only planning, what planning had, but with traffic and safety as to traffic. So we tried to address the traffic issue by listening to planning and to traffic and safety. We've made multiple changes, not only to the entire lot, but we addressed the issue of the ease of queuing of the vehicles to take into consideration of the rights of the properties of the residents with buffering also. With that in mind, we also added a de-acceleration lane on our site to better improve vehicle movement. But also, it can be used for a place where vehicles can go into the queue in the unlikely event the other queues are filled. And I think we heard prior testimony that it fits about 18 cars in the other two lanes. And now, believe me, nobody wants to go to a Starbucks that sees there's 18, 20 cars backed up. Now, the main issue with traffic in this area is most likely rush hour in the morning. And that's the biggest concern. Everyone's thinking everybody wants to get their coffee before they go to work. Okay, if I'm driving to work, rush hour, I know if I drive past Starbucks and I see 18 to 20 cars, I'm not stopping. Not because I don't want coffee or I don't want to wait for 15 minutes. You know where I work. I have to go to work. Nobody knows this theory better than Starbucks. Starbucks does not want to turn away customers. Starbucks does not want people backed up in the road. Starbucks doesn't want to anger the residents in the neighborhood. So Starbucks worked very hard and tried to design, in essence, a control plan to control traffic. Much similar to like what theme parks do. They really took the time, spent all this time with planning, spent time with DOT, put in this extra lane. They have ample parking there. They've also said prior that you can use part of the parking lot if it's backed up. There's room to turn around. There's no reason for anyone to be in the street, ever. Now, Starbucks also knew that with all their new designs and implements, they testified back in December of 23, the problem is waiting on a line, it's waiting for the people to make the drinks for you. That causes the backup. They gave extensive details to this board about the new innovations of how they do the ice, how they get it to the front, and that gets the workers moving faster, and you're not waiting as long. They also gave evidence that the menu board way back online gives the workers more time to prepare these drinks. Nobody's waiting as long. They put an extensive amount of time in this, and the engineers are here tonight. They can talk to you if you have any more questions about that. The planning board made several recommendations. We received that, and we thank you for giving that to us. As to the setbacks, we request the queue lane from a residential distance from 50 feet to 26 feet. We agree with planning to submit a landscape plan for planning to review per their request. Starbucks also agrees to use the colors and the materials used by the approved Comac and Kings Park Starbucks location. We also will, the board was concerned with the wall, the blank wall facing the residents, that it was too big. Starbucks will put up the facade windows, so it doesn't look like a big blank wall. They will do that. Now, as for the wall signs, the one wall sign, it's for their entrance, and it's similar to when we were here, I guess maybe a month ago, for Wood Kingdom. That's their entrance, and it's designed so people know what entrance to walk into. The way the building's situated, it's a little confusing for people to know where to enter the building. Nobody wants anybody wandering around the building, wandering out onto the road, looking for the entrance. It's just a sign to let them know where the entrance is. The other concern with the other two signs are the enter and exit signs for the drive-through and the exit. They did this for a safety precaution. They want everyone to know which way to enter. The parking lot is large. If you pull in, maybe I might drive into the exit. So it's simple signs just to say exit and enter for safety purposes. I mean, worst case scenario, the one sign on the exit leaving the drive-through, maybe a do not enter sign, just for safety purposes. And we also will address with the traffic and safety at the time of the site plan review. And we also, we were advised that our secret is complete. And at this time, I would like to bring up our traffic engineer to speak a little bit about that.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Nicholas Tortorella, spelled Tortorella. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of New York and a traffic engineering project manager with Stonefield Engineering and Design, 584 Broadway, Suite 310 in Manhattan, and serving as the professional traffic engineering consultant on behalf of the applicant. So as we've explained, our proposed development would construct an approximately 2,500 square foot Starbucks coffee shop with an associated drive-through component on a currently undeveloped and wooded site at the southwest corner of the intersection between Middle Country Road, designated as New York State Route 25, and Alexander Avenue, immediately to the east of Deer Valley Drive, on the opposite side of Middle Country Road and just to the west of the Smith Haven Mall, and approximately 1,000 feet, give or take, east of the recently reconstructed intersection with Route 347, excuse me. I would love to point around the site plan a little bit, but I'll do my best to narrate the access design. So site access is currently proposed via the construction of a new, unsignalized, full movement driveway connection to Alexander Avenue that's located approximately 230 feet south of the signalized intersection with Middle Country Road. This access plan is a result of extensive coordination between our project team, the town planning and traffic safety departments, and the New York State Department of Transportation, or DOT, who holds jurisdiction over Middle Country Road and the traffic signal at Alexander Avenue. Our team had long contemplated providing an additional right-in, right-out site access connection directly to Middle Country Road, along our northern property frontage. But after 7 meetings with the Department of Transportation and town staff, it was determined that in consultation with both the town and DOT, that this could result in potentially significant impacts to traffic flow on Middle Country Road and safety concerns in the eastbound direction, and that we would not be allowed under any circumstance to provide access directly to Middle Country Road. Just to quickly review the design considerations that we discussed, Deer Valley Drive exits directly into an eastbound travel lane on Middle Country Road that transitions into a right turn lane at Alexander Avenue in only about 150 feet. Any potential driveway for our site would have to be located within that lane transition, which is basically a non-starter for the DOT, and approximately halfway in between Deer Valley Drive and Alexander Avenue, which would result in our driveway being located too close to the signal at Alexander Avenue per the State Department of Transportation standards. So with these constraints in mind, the full movement driveway connection to Alexander Avenue at the southern end of our site frontage, located as far as we can possibly put it from the traffic signal at Middle Country Road, while still maintaining the 60-foot buffer to the residential area to the south, is the safest and most efficient way that we can provide access to this project in the future. In consultation with the state DOT, we are also proposing to implement significant geometric and traffic signal improvements at the Middle Country Road and Alexander Avenue intersection. Currently, the northbound Alexander Avenue approach provides one left turn lane and one shared through and right turn lane that serves vehicles exiting the Sonic and the residences to the south of our site. To maximize the capacity of this northbound approach, we would widen Alexander Avenue to the west into our site to create enough space such that we could provide a third northbound travel lane approaching Middle Country Road. That would result in one exclusive left turn lane, one exclusive through lane, and one exclusive right turn lane. I'd like to note here that the existing left turn lane that's provided today has approximately 35 feet of storage in the northbound direction. That's enough to accommodate about 2 vehicles if you consider a 16 to 18-foot average vehicle length. With our proposed improvements, the new left turn lane would provide approximately 210 total feet of queue storage, and the new right turn lane, which does not currently exist, would provide 130 feet of total queue storage in the northbound direction for those vehicles looking to travel eastbound on Middle Country Road. If we could maybe zoom in to the bottom there in red with the deceleration lane that was referenced earlier. Yeah, that's good. So just for clarity, page left is obviously southbound. We are also proposing to provide a southbound right turn lane along our site's frontage to Alexander Avenue. This new lane will remove the Starbucks traffic from the through traffic stream and is expected to promote the most continuous flow possible of southbound traffic from the Middle Country Road traffic signal, again, to the south, heading towards residences to the south of our site. My office prepared extensive traffic analyses as part of a traffic impact study for the project to not only quantify the Starbucks potential traffic impacts, but also the benefits of these proposed improvements. The study considers the existing traffic volumes along the Middle Country Road corridor, specifically at Middle Country Road and Alexander Avenue, as well as the vehicle trips that could be generated through the area by other planned development projects that we identified in consultation with town planning staff. We also projected the total number of trips that Starbucks would generate in the future based on a combination of data published by the Institute of Transportation Engineers, or ITE, as well as operational data that Starbucks provided us, real-time transaction data, from their existing store at the intersection of 347 and Mount Pleasant Road, which is about 3 miles located to the southwest of our site on 347. Starbucks, like any coffee shop, fast food restaurant, or high turnover retail type use, aims to capitalize on the volume of traffic that traverses past the site on the adjacent roadways. So for example, it would be like a vehicle that's already traveling eastbound on Middle Country Road. They would see the Starbucks, they'd make a right turn onto Alexander Avenue, they'd enter the site, they'd purchase a coffee, they'd exit back to Alexander Avenue and make a right turn to continue eastbound on Middle Country Road on their pre-existing trip. This concept is referred to as pass-by trips, and data published by ITE indicates that up to approximately 90% of the total peak hour traffic volume that's generated by a Starbucks use would be comprised of these pass-by trips and not actually new vehicles to the study area. Considering that level of pass-by traffic, this proposed Starbucks is expected to generate a maximum of 42 total new vehicle trips to the intersection of Middle Country Road and Alexander Avenue during the highest single peak hour, which breaks down to about 1 new vehicle trip every minute and a half or 90 seconds. To inform the impact analysis, we prepared traffic capacity models for the future without Starbucks and without the proposed intersection improvements, and compared those results to a future model with Starbucks operating on the project site and the Alexander Avenue widening improvements in place. These results indicate that the Middle Country Road and Alexander Avenue intersection would actually operate with similar levels of service across all 4 approaches, with the Starbucks open and operational on the site. And in some cases, the intersection's future condition with Starbucks and the improvements would actually operate more efficiently than those movements do today. For example, the northbound left turn with increased storage and modified signal timings. The traffic models also show that the proposed full movement driveway connection to Alexander Avenue would operate efficiently during all of the peak hours, and with any minimal delays caused by the intersection contained to vehicles exiting the Starbucks site and not impacting traffic flow in either direction on Alexander Avenue or at the signalized intersection with Middle Country Road. But to take it one step further, we prepared a detailed queuing analysis for the northbound Alexander Avenue approach to Middle Country Road to verify that our proposed improvement design was sufficient to accommodate the 95th percentile, or what we would refer to as the worst case queuing conditions that could occur during the peak hours in the future. So our analysis shows that the proposed northbound storage lengths could accommodate these queues without the vehicles extending back far enough to reach our site driveway that's located approximately 230 feet from the signal at Middle Country Road. The traffic models also show that any queuing on the northbound approach would clear through the traffic light in one single signal cycle, meaning that every time the light turns green for the northbound approach, any vehicle waiting on that approach would be able to travel through the traffic light to travel in either direction on Middle Country Road or northbound on Alexander Avenue past the mall. It's crucial to note at this stage that the improvements we're discussing are subject to the final review and approval, of course, by the New York State DOT as they hold jurisdiction over Middle Country Road and the traffic signal. But again, with those improvements in place that we are proposing as part of our project, the extensive traffic and queuing analyses that we've prepared demonstrate that the development of this Starbucks is not expected to significantly or adversely impact traffic operations along Middle Country Road and specifically at the intersection with Alexander Avenue. New York State DOT approval of these improvements in the corresponding traffic study will be a condition of any site plan approval that we're seeking from the town. And the final intersection improvement plans, even with minor changes from, potentially from what we're talking about this evening, will not have any discernible impact to the variances that we're seeking from the board today. I also just wanted to note quickly that we will formally resubmit to town planning and traffic safety, responding to and addressing all outstanding comments related to the traffic study. And again, none of those minor revisions we would expect to have any impact on the specifically the loading variance that we're seeking this evening. And just very quickly, I'd like to wrap up with a quick discussion about the drive-through and on-site parking layout. The proposed drive-through will provide storage for 15 total vehicles before that queue would extend back to an on-site drive aisle and the parking fields. The payment and pickup window will be constructed along the western building facade, and the order boards will be constructed to the east of the building and accessible via the 12-foot wide drive-through lane. There will also be a bypass lane that begins just after the two entrance points to the drive-through merge, so that vehicles could exit the drive-through, whenever they need to, before actually ever reaching the ordering board. Based on feedback that we've received over the past few years from town planning, we've also designed the two-lane drive-through entrances so that they are rotated 90 degrees and intersect with an on-site parking drive aisle, rather than tying in directly to the proposed access connection to Alexander Avenue. These 15 vehicle staging spaces in the drive-through are expected to more than accommodate the peak queues that could be generated during the peak hour, but in that rare instance where the drive-through queue could potentially, in theory, exceed the 15 vehicle storage capacity, that extended queue would go into a parking drive aisle and not have the ability to extend back towards Alexander Avenue and impact traffic flows on the adjacent roadway. With respect to the parking, our proposed layout provides 44 total parking spaces, which are accessible via the two main on-site drive aisles, and that exceeds the town's parking requirement of 26 stalls, which is approximately one for every 100 square foot of gross floor area. Our deliveries would occur during off-peak periods before the Starbucks facility is open. These trucks would likely occupy multiple parking stalls on the site, but it's important to note again that because we've provided an excess number of parking stalls and the fact that there are two on-site drive aisles, we would expect these loading operations to occur efficiently even without the provision for a dedicated loading space. And the loading operations are not expected to impact on-site traffic circulation, nor result in any shortfall of available parking spaces where you could see a situation where cars are staging on site waiting for a space to open up, and that would potentially result in queuing on Alexander Avenue. Again, because of the surplus of parking spaces that we have, we do not expect that to happen. And so that's really all I had to touch on specifically. I can turn it back over to our attorney, or happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions for the traffic engineer?
No.
I think we're good.
Okay. Does anyone on the board have any other further questions of me or both of the engineers that we have with us tonight?
No, I don't think I do. You guys have any questions?
Oh, good. No, I'm good.
Mr. Chairman, planning did provide the board members with a revised memo from the previous public hearing we had back in December of 2023. It's hard to imagine we've been doing this for 3.5 years. Wow. So I just want to touch on a couple of points that Grace had made in her presentation. First and foremost, the biggest concern, as has been mentioned, is the traffic impact to Alexander Avenue and to the intersection of Alexander and Middle Country Road. The site plan has gone through numerous revisions over the years, most recently within about the past, I guess, year and a half at this point. The applicants have made some substantial changes with respect to making changes to the intersection at Middle Country Road and Alexander Avenue North and South, adding turning lanes, adding longer queuing lanes, both north and south, which will most definitely improve conditions regarding traffic as they are right now. I think we believe that it also will help with traffic backing up to the site, which is not anticipated because of the additional traffic lanes, the queuing lane coming off Alexander Avenue and providing access to the site. We don't really have any objection to what they're proposing right now as far as changes to that intersection in Alexander Avenue. There is a bit of concern about alignment with the roads north and south. Apparently, the both north and southbound through lane don't exactly line up perfectly. We'd like to see that perhaps revised so that it works a little bit better. With respect to the site itself, parking is more than adequate. The queue lane appears to be adequate, number of vehicles that it can hold. We do have concerns about the face of the building. Could you put up the elevation for the north side? So when you look at the building from Middle Country Road, the proposed elevation, it's the north side of the building facing Middle Country Road. And the current plan that we have basically shows a solid dark wall facing Middle Country. It doesn't really have any aesthetic features that really enhance the look of the building for anybody driving by, walking by, whatever the case may be. It's rather important that because it's such a such a well-traveled road, that the look of the building reflect better architecture and not provide just a blank wall. We'd like to see that enhanced to look, better, maybe with some faux windows, faux doors, whatever you have. I know that the engineers who are working on the project have said that they can make it look better, they can match it to the Comac and Kings Park locations and tweak it so that that north face does have a better appearance. We're looking forward to seeing that. And with respect to signage, the signage that was recommended for approval was based on board's previous approvals of other applications where, multiple signs have been requested, wall and ground signs. So we're just making a recommendation that is in keeping with what the board finds to be adequate. And that's it.
But you had said that you revised the facade facing Middle Country Road?
Yes, that they were going to put up the windows that Blaze discussed. They don't have an objection to that.
Okay. Sabrina?
No, thank you.
Anyone in the audience like to be heard on this? Come on up.
Hello. Susan Fink, 159 Alexander Avenue. Many of us...
Last name, please, for the record.
Fink, F-I-N-K. Many of us will speak about various things that came up. I'm talking about what the variances that were requested. To start with, please realize that Alexander Avenue is not a commercial street. The north side on the mall side might be, but our side of Jericho is not a commercial street. And piling all that traffic out onto that street is not right. I've lived there for 56 years. When we first bought our house, we were promised a dead-end street. You have maps in your office that show it cul-de-sac. Then there's a big sign that says superseded. Okay, we don't live on a dead-end street, but we still do not live on a residential street, on a commercial street. And it's not fair that you're making it that. You spoke at the beginning of what your job is, and that you have to balance the community versus the commercial. We're the community. Balance to say, leave our street as a residential street. We have trees that come together. It's a beautiful street. What they're doing to it is turning it into Coney Island. The traffic, the signs, all these variant signs that they want to make some signs taller, the number of signs, the placement of signs, the variances that they applied for, please don't give them to them. If they're entitled to signs, sure, but it doesn't have to be more. It's going to look like Coney Island. And when you talk about traffic there, beside all the things that were mentioned, there's a stop sign. When you come onto Alexander going south, people drive not that far, and there's a stop sign. Some poor people just bought a house right on the stop sign. I don't know how they did that, but they did. Lovely people. In front of their house now is a stop sign, and then these cars are going to back up. Other people will talk about some of those features. They talk about moving an extra island, an extra lane, that they will take some of their property so that there can be a third lane. It's not their property. The state owns the land on the corner. They don't own anything on the corner. There's one little piece that's theirs. Most of it's not. It's either Sonic or it's the state. So they're not giving up their land. The traffic right now is horrendous. To say that the traffic, when they do what they're going to do, will clear in one light is ridiculous. It doesn't clear now in one light without all the additional traffic. And they're painting these beautiful pictures. Everything's going to be fine. It's not. Come and live on our street. It's not fine now, and it's not fine then. We still get traffic that's not allowed to be there. We get buses that deadhead down our street during the day and 11 o'clock at night going to, some of them go across Jericho. They're not allowed to be on the street. We've gone to town hall and we've asked it. We've spoken to the supervisor's office. He called the bus company. Oh, we'll stop it. It hasn't stopped. Trucks go there that are not allowed to be. Nothing over 8.5, what is it, 8.5 tons? 40 unladen weight is allowed to be on the street. They're there. We've had 18-wheelers come down the street. They're not supposed to be there, and there seems to be nobody helping out. There's no answer. We call the police. They'll do what they can. They have to see it. Well, if they're sitting there, the trucks are not going to come through. The buses come down.
Can you just kind of stick to the variances they're requesting?
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
giving us information that helps us.
You're right. Thank you. Can I just bring up one more thing that we just heard? There is talk that there is going to be another lane of traffic coming out of the Country Point condominium onto Alexander to give those people a needed other way to leave their community. Is that part of this plan? Some people here know about it. Then they'll speak about it. So we'll talk about all kinds of different things. Okay, the variances that they've asked for. Why? Why do they have to come? If there's a limit to the number of signs, they can live within the limit. If there's a limit to the size of the signs, let them live within the limit. Do you have to grant them what they want just because they ask for it?
No.
Okay, please don't make us look like Coney Island. I know a lot of people are going to talk about different things in here. Everybody.
Good evening, everybody. If you will forgive me, I'm livid. I'm angry.
Name and address first.
Maureen and Corey Schwartz, 166 Alexander Avenue.
Just spell your last name, please.
Schwartz. I have lived on Alexander Avenue for over 55 years. I was raised in my house. I've raised my children in my house. I take pride in how it's maintained, and I enjoy my neighbors, and we respect each other's property. And that being said, I have some questions. If Middle Country Road is a commercial roadway, and Starbucks was denied egress and ingress by New York State, why are you trying to commercialize a residential roadway? If New York State denied them, why would Smithtown approve it? And why wasn't Deer Valley Road even being considered? Why just Alexander Avenue? Why allow reduction of parking setbacks? This would only make for more commercialization of our residential area. The requested variance for the Q lane would also add to the commodification and congestion. It obviously indicates that the length of the residential street is not sufficient to support the anticipated volume of commercial traffic.
Also wouldn't need, I'm
You have
sorry?
to introduce yourself and
Corey
She did.
Schwartz. I
Corey
did.
Schwartz.
please
One
spell
six- Corey Schwartz, 166 Alexander Avenue.
your- okay. Just
With
one at a-
regard
one
to
at a
the-
time So she can get it down.
With regard to the variances, with regard to the parking setbacks, they seem to have just mentioned that they were having an excessive number of parking spaces, more than they thought they needed, which would cause for the request for the variances, which wouldn't even be necessary if they complied with the just minimally required number of parking spaces.
Signage is going to be excessive. 8 signs, 6 wall signs, increasing the height. It would be an eyesore and an intrusion and contribute to the decimation of Alexander Avenue. They are attempting to disrupt our family-friendly, peaceful, community-oriented residential street. Why would Smithtown even consider doing this to us? Bahama Breeze location is available across the street. IHOP was suggested. Those are all commercial properties, but Starbucks didn't take them. Why? I don't know. We are already dealing with picking up the trash from Sonic. Trash dropped in front of our homes. I have personally found Sonic trash in my mailbox. I've been removing waste from there every day. Starbucks will further increase the amount of garbage on our street. We also have to contend with those customers who are making illegal left and right turns into Sonic and illegal left turns out of Sonic onto Alexander Avenue. What makes anybody think that people are going to listen to the roadways and go back? They're not. There are major accidents just waiting to happen on our street, just from Sonic. Can you imagine what it's going to do from Starbucks as well? We have small children that live on our street. Something bad is going to happen very soon. And sadly, Smithtown did not protect us on the first round of defamation from our street. We need to be defended now by the town we live in, whom we pay substantial taxes. We matter. Granting any or all of these variances will result in an exceptional hardship to our current residents. In particular, the first home on our street has their driveway before the stop sign. Will they ever be able to get out of their driveway and onto the street with the increased traffic? This store is of no benefit to the community, as there are already multiple locations within a 5-mile radius. They are already in the Smith Haven Mall, Mount Pleasant Road, Hop Road, Main Street, Express Drive, Smithtown Boulevard, North Country Road, and others. And do I need to go on? Starbucks is everywhere. And as they said, with only 40 additional trips that people will make, why even bother? How would it be financially beneficial to them? Why do they have to do it if there's not going to be that much traffic? It's not going to be so terrible. Well, Starbucks representatives have no interest or concern for the issues raised by my neighbors or myself, because to them we don't matter. It's all about the money. You, however, are our neighbors and part of our greater community. We are being forced to have our residential street commercialized. Have any of you experienced that? You don't live on Alexander Avenue. You don't know what it's like to have your beautiful street decimated. So I would ask all of you who are sitting here to have some compassion for those of us whose street is about to be destroyed even further. We ask you to deny these variances and understand what we are going through and protect us. Smithtown needs to protect us from this unnecessary incursion because we do matter.
else?
Good evening. Donna Natale, 105 Deer Valley Drive, in the Country Point community.
Just spell your last name.
Natale. I understand all the analysts and everything that has been done with the traffic and what they're doing with the entrance and the exit. They are not considering that we have a community of 194 units right east, actually west, right? No? West, I'm sorry, I'm like turned around. West of it. We've been told last night at our annual meeting that Starbucks is going to pay to have a second exit in our community to accommodate them, not us, them. I don't see it on the plan. They're telling us it's going to be, so there's a lot of, I don't want to say like just people trying to do whatever they can to get this Starbucks in this location. So now we're being told that we're having another exit. So we have a beautiful entrance into our community with all tree lines. Then we get our gated, gatehouse and everything. And now we're going to have to break open this row of trees to get a second exit out to accommodate Starbucks, which is preposterous. It's ridiculous. I mean, we're going to come out now on this same lane that all these people that they talk about that are going to be last-minute drive-by customers that are going to come into this lane. Do you know what's going to happen when we have community? And now there are going to be accidents there. There are already accidents coming into our community because people don't abide by it. So now you have all these people coming out. We make a lot of right turns onto Alexander Avenue, and now you're going to have people coming out of the side of Starbucks and entering the side of Starbucks. How is this going to happen? It's impossible. It's impossible. There's too many people coming, the residents from the Alexander, the residents from Deer Valley. It's too congested. It's never going to happen. It's going to be impossible. So nobody's considering that. They're worried about these variances with their signs and things like that, which I agree with my neighbor wholeheartedly, what she said, but they're not considering the impact of the traffic and the accidents that are going to happen there. When you're in Starbucks and you come out, if you want to make a left to go to that traffic light, it's a very short distance. You're telling me that nothing's going to back up there, and you're not going to have people sitting in the middle of the road when the people are coming over Middle Country to come to Alexander. It's a nightmare waiting to happen. It's never going to, what survey they're doing, it's never going to happen. There's buses that come out of our community with children, filled with children, going back into our community. It's just not going to happen. Thank you for listening.
Come on.
George Natale, 105 Deer Valley Drive in Country Point. I don't know how familiar you are with it, but when you come out of Country Point, you can't make a left. You can't. So you have to go right, which is east, and make the left onto Alexander on the mall side to get to 347 to go west. So this is what happens. You have to scoot across to get to the left turn lane to make on Alexander. So that's usually very difficult because the oncoming traffic is pretty fast, especially rush hour. Of course, holidays, let's not even go there. It's nonstop. That said, what a lot of people do, including myself, I leave Deer Valley, I make a right on Alexander, right by the, what's the burger place there? Sonic. I make a U-turn to go north on Alexander to get to 347 to go west. There's plenty of people who do that. They don't want to go all the way down to the expressway. They want to just go west on 347, or west on Jericho, okay, 25. So that's what happens. Now, the talk is there's going to be an entrance from Deer Valley Drive into the parking lot of Starbucks. So we'll have a great little exit. Now that's going to add our 194 residents going onto Alexander, either going left or going right, depends. But making the left to go west might be an option, an easier option. So we're going to have more people going that way to go west on 25. So that's going to add to the traffic. I don't know if that's taken into consideration, okay? Or who's making deals or whatever to get this pushed. That's what it seems like. A lot of the residents talk about it, at least in the Country Point community, despite what you might hear. That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else want to come up?
Board members, my name is Hal Goldrich, 150 Alexander Avenue.
Last name, please.
Goldrich, Goldrich. I was listening to the attorney, and she said that she set up the queuing will be similar to a theme park queuing. We don't need a theme, the residents on Alexander Avenue don't need a theme park built on our street. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sharon Silva Rizzardi. I live at 33 Dover Hill Drive in Nesconset. Dover Hill Drive is...
Last name, I'm sorry.
I apologize. Rizzardi. Actually, my name is hyphenated. Silver-Rizzardi. I live on the first block that intersects Alexander Avenue, directly across from the proposed location of this Starbucks. First, I would like to thank you all for having me speak tonight. First issue that concerns me is the truck loading space variance. Eliminating the truck loading space may force delivery trucks to park on Alexander Avenue or Middle Country Road during deliveries. Of course, that would obstruct traffic flow and potentially create traffic hazards. It'll also add to the existing problems of traffic from the driveways, that intersect on Alexander Avenue. The next issue that concerns me are the queue lane distance variance, inadequate queuing. The queue lane distance variance from 50 feet to 26 feet seems problematic even after reconfiguration. Now, the traffic impact study that was made available to me today, mind you, it's dated 2017 with slight modifications, but that traffic impact study mentions queuing concerns on northbound Alexander Avenue. The fact that the number of queuing spaces has decreased from 18 to 15 raises concerns, again, about potential traffic spilling directly onto Alexander Avenue. Now, if we want to talk about distance and length, my husband's truck is 19 feet long. There are other trucks that are the same. Suppose they're lined up at Starbucks, hidden by the trees so that other people can get online. Grace mentioned that Starbucks doesn't like to see people waiting online, and they've got all these fancy machines where they can make your coffee very fast. Well, what if somebody orders more than just a cup of coffee? We've all seen what their menu is like, and we've all waited online for our order to be filled. Somebody orders something more than a single cup of coffee, maybe a shake, maybe steamed eggs. The queuing is totally blown out of the water. So the queuing that the gentleman who performed some slight modifications to the traffic impact study is blown out of the water. We still need something more up-to-date, something more accurate, something that would take into account the existence of Sonic right across the street. Not once in any report has the traffic flowing from Sonic been mentioned. Now, I'd like to point out to you that Sonic has an exit spilling onto Alexander Avenue. Maybe that's 20 feet away from the exit and entrance of the proposed Starbucks. Why wasn't the traffic considered in the updated modified reports from Sonic? Now, note, it's an egress from Sonic. Every morning I walk my dog. I walk through Sonic where it's nice and green. How many times, I can't even count, people have tried to turn into Sonic from the egress. Just the other day, I was walking with a small dog. I felt a chill down my back, and there was one of those electric vehicles that came speeding in behind me. Who's to say that's not going to continue happening to the other residents that live on the street, to the other children that ride their bicycles? Who's to say, and why wasn't it accounted for in that traffic study? But there's a little bit more to it than that. All right, we spoke about the fact that the number of queuing spaces has decreased from 18 to 15, which also raises concerns about the potential for traffic spilling onto Alexander Avenue, particularly during high traffic volumes. Now, anybody who is familiar with the neighborhood, anybody who is familiar with Starbucks has seen the lines. Let's talk about the Starbucks across the street from CVS on Smithtown Boulevard. How many times have you got stuck in traffic because Starbucks has spilled out of the parking lot onto the residential street? That is not something that I'm looking to see duplicated in my neighborhood on my block. One mistake is too many. We don't need to have it happen again. Now, this bypass lane, while this bypass lane is mentioned, there's no mention of it in the traffic impact study. So do we know what the bypass lane is? Let's just talk about it. On these maps, there's a fly here. Who's in charge of the maps and the photos over here? Maybe we can put up.
Over here. You want to zoom in on the bypass lane, Matt?
Or maybe the red and white map. Okay. Before we get to the bypass lane, I don't want to forget, take a look at the cross of Middle Country Road over Alexander Avenue. The photo would have to be moved just a little bit for everybody to take a look. The north and south side roads, which would have to be expanded, they just don't match. How are you going to match the north side of Alexander Avenue with the south? You can't even do it on these renderings, let alone on another more effective plan. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So you're going to take 14 feet away from Firestone just to enlarge the north side of Alexander Avenue to accommodate a proposed Starbucks that doesn't even fit on the property. Now, mind you, I personally wouldn't mind having a Starbucks there, but I don't like what they're doing. They're using the residential street of Alexander Avenue to suit them as their parking lot. The queuing of like 10 cars, 5 cars, 1 cup of coffee extra, it doesn't work. That's a fantasy world. That's not true. All right, but let's go to that bypass lane. If you want to move the screen down just a little bit, I can refer to this because I have a map in front of me, but I hope that you would all take a look at the maps.
Are you referring to the bypass lane or the de-acceleration lane?
What's the difference?
The bypass lane is on the site in the drive-through. The de-acceleration lane is on Alexander.
I am referring to the de-acceleration lane.
Okay.
This lane seems a little bit short to accommodate the projected traffic. Now, again, as one of my neighbors pointed out, there's too much traffic for Middle Country Road, which is a commercial road, but there's not too much traffic for the residential street of Alexander Avenue. I think there is. So they've created this nice little bypass lane for cars to queue, just in case the queue is not long enough on on Starbucks' actual property. So they enter. Now they're also exiting back onto Alexander Avenue, the residential road. Deer Valley Drive is going to open up, and these people are also going to use that as a cut-through. So those cars, again, are going to dump onto Alexander Avenue. I didn't hear any of that mentioned in the traffic analysis. I think it was conveniently omitted. So we've got the regular traffic, which in 2017, the traffic report mentions that it was excessive. We've got the new traffic from Starbucks, and we've got the additional traffic coming over from the cut-through by Deer Valley Drive. Is something wrong over here? And none of this is mentioned in any of these traffic reports. There are definite problems with this. Definite problems with this. Also, the bypass lane, which we discussed, is different from the other lane. That's effectiveness is also questionable, especially if the queues overflow. Now, the sign variances, sign clutter, impact on the residents, and actually, there's a lack of justification for changing any of the signs. Not one reason has been presented as to why the height and number of signs have to be increased. Nothing. Now, when you enter our charming village of Nesconset, which I love, you're exiting 347 or you're taking Middle Country Road. The first building you see is this proposed Starbucks structure. To me, it looks like a mausoleum. It's ridiculous. It's ugly. And to have those massive signs and so many of them so people know where to go, I think they'll know where to go when they see the traffic. But how are you going to turn down Alexander Avenue and get to your homes in the neighborhood? To begin with, try a holiday season. Try getting out of the cul-de-sac of Dover Hill Drive. During holidays, during weekends, you are totally backed up. Now, let's talk about people obeying the traffic laws. They are cutting across streets left and right. There are countless police reports of accidents that have occurred on Alexander Avenue and Middle Country Road. None of that has been mentioned in the traffic reports. I didn't have an opportunity to file a Freedom of Information request with the police department to present to this board the number of accidents that occur as it currently exists. But instead, the traffic report that I read, again, was dated 2017 with slight modifications. So we've got a number of concerns. We've got aesthetic concerns. We've got major traffic concerns. I'm sorry, and I'm speaking very fast and passionately. I apologize. We've got aesthetic concerns. We've got major traffic concerns. Now, I want to remind the board of something. We all know that there is a master plan of Smithtown. And we all know that the location where the proposed Starbucks is was originally zoned residential, farmland, then residential. And then a few structures were allowed to be erected on Middle Country Road, changing the flavor of Middle Country Road to a commercial road. Yet the cut road, Alexander Avenue, which was at one time a cul-de-sac, is now used as a cut road from the Long Island Expressway to the Smith Haven Mall. And now, conveniently, more traffic, more congestion will be added to it. You would be turning a blind eye if you would accept the traffic being dumped onto Alexander Avenue from the egress of the Starbucks. It's there. It's there now. It's there. It's ridiculous. Now, I will also tell you, towards the end of Alexander Avenue, cars are flying by. Everybody's in a rush. whether it's to get their coffee for work and their eggs and their milkshakes and everything else that'll slow down the queue, or for whatever else their needs are. But it is not feasible to have the curb cuts on a residential road for this commercial structure. Now, if Starbucks needed larger space, perhaps they should have entertained a different area. But they're focusing here, and they're asking for countless variances. I'd like to mention that it was determined that there is no need for an environmental impact study. But that was before all of these requests for variances have been made. So we know that there are deer living in that land. Where will they go? I don't know. Deer Valley Drive. There are deer living in that road. There are requests to reduce the setback bordering Deer Valley Road, the request to increase the signage. Perhaps a secret declaration is necessary. Perhaps it is something that the town should consider in considering everything else that is mentioned here. So the general concerns and omissions that I'd like to bring to your attention, if I haven't already, is the residential road character. The impact on Alexander Avenue as a residential road is a recurring theme. The increased traffic, potential queuing, and visual impact of signing all degrade the residential character of the neighborhood. This is not sufficiently addressed in the existing traffic impact study. Now, the sonic cut-through, the existing issue of traffic using the sonic exit as a cut-through has not been adequately addressed in the provided documentation anywhere in the planning department's file. The proposed changes may exacerbate the existing problems. Now, with regard to lack of alternatives, Mr. Tremarco hasn't demonstrated that the variances are the minimum necessary to allow for the reasonable use of the property. The simple fact that this was initially brought to your attention in 2022 allows 3 full years for alternatives to be addressed, yet they weren't. I don't even know if alternative site layouts or building designs have been considered that would reduce the need for these variances. Going back and forth and revisiting the same problem does not address the fact that alternatives may exist. And the response from Stonefield indicates that the New York Department of Transportation has reviewed the conceptual intersection improvements plan as requested, but never a technical analysis and design plans. So I stand here before you along with my neighbors, and I am asking that the board carefully consider denying the variances or deferring a decision until the applicant is able to provide more compelling justifications and addresses the concerns raised, particularly those raised to traffic, queuing, and the impact on the residential neighborhood. Kicking the can down the road for a site plan review is not the way to handle it. I would also ask that the board seek an independent review of the traffic impact study, or maybe get an updated traffic impact study that considers all of the traffic feeding into Alexander Avenue, not just the simple erection of the Starbucks facility. We would need a qualified traffic engineer to assess the validity of its conclusions and the effectiveness of the proposed mitigation measures. And also, the board should explore alternative site plans or building designs that would minimize the need for variances and also reduce the impact on the surrounding community. And that's essentially why we're here. We don't want our lifestyle further changed. As I mentioned earlier, I was nearly hit by a car walking my dog, and Starbucks wasn't even built. That was just sonic. And it didn't happen once, it didn't happen twice, it happened at least 10 times. It's not necessary. Fortunately, I escaped, but some people might not be that fortunate. I'd also like to call to your attention the fact that many years ago, shortly after the cul-de-sac on Alexander Avenue was open, A little girl on the first house was killed. Keep that in mind, and traffic wasn't as bad as it is right now. Thank you.
Anyone else like to be heard?
My name's Phil Rizzardi, R-I-Z-Z-A-R-D-I. I'm a resident 33 Dover Hill Drive. All right, that's the horseshoe that's right off of Alexander Avenue, the first left turn that you make off of Middle Country. Listening to all of the statistics and the analysis, all of those things are great, and that's what I call the best laid plans of mice and men. Right, I give you the reality, which I know you've heard. I'm just going to repeat a few things. I've lived there for 37 years. I'd enlighten you with some of the suggestions that New York State has put out on Alexander Avenue. And I say suggestions, they're really traffic laws, but they're taken as suggestions. If you look at the southbound traffic coming from 347 down Alexander on the mall side, the launch ramp of Middle Country Road, of people trying to beat that light coming from 347 past what is now Bahama Breeze and Firestone, beating that light, launching themselves onto the other side of Alexander Avenue, they're now going to come to the new traffic. Right, so that is one thing to take into consideration. The northbound to the southbound traffic from Alexander is excessive. I have to come to full stops and waits, even though I have a light. There are people that are blowing right through trying to beat that light to get onto the south side of Alexander. Right? Sonic is, again, nothing but a suggestion. It's supposed to be a right turn only exit, but my neighbors have put cones in their driveways and garbage pails in their driveways to stop the U-turns of people that are going down. They're trying to make the left turn into Sonic. They realize they can't do it. They go down to Dover Hill and they start making U-turns either at Dover Hill, and just like one of our neighbors said, the people from Deer Valley are coming down, making the right turn onto Alexander, making a U-turn on Dover Hill, and then going out to 347 via either Alexander or back down to Middle Country. That small, 250-foot run is a mess, honestly, especially Saturday. I'm retired. I'm out there every day. Saturday morning, that place is backed up beyond the stop signs. People trying to get to the mall, people trying to get to Lowe's, people trying to get to 347. Right? Rush hour, I just don't even bother trying to get out of rush hour. Right? But there's too many things. All of these engineers that come out with the little rubber strips in the road and counting the cars, that's one thing. But the reality is, that's a very busy intersection as it is. Right? Having these cars and having the extra 200 cars coming from Deer Valley, we're just waiting for more accidents to happen. Right? I don't mean to bore you guys with the stuff you've already heard, but this is just going to exacerbate an already existing problem. Right? There's just too much of a mess there already, and this is just going to make it worse. And I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared for anything for the rest of this. I'm usually good with variances and everything else, but my last fight was with Costco, or Price Club. We fought Price Club. Right. What? Oh yeah, secret declarations. Economic impact, environmental impact, impact to the community. I hear that there was a secret negative declaration already passed, but I just heard about this. This has been going on for 2.5 years. The first I heard about it, and again, I live here 37 years. First I heard about it is when I saw a variance sign go up on the corner of Alexander. Right? This secret negative, I don't even know about the secret. Is it a secret negative declaration passed already, or?
We were recommended to adopt a negative declaration, correct.
But has the impact to the community been addressed at all?
We have a Department of Environment and Waterways that
That's
reviews it.
environment, that's environmental, that could be economic. Impact to the community is part of the secret declaration, and from what I'm hearing,
It
the
is, and
community
they look
is.
at that.
I'm
And
sorry?
they also look at sound, they look at lighting, there's
Well,
a
yeah,
whole.
that's all I'm talking about the people. Right, yeah, the environment and the lighting and the sound and the noise and everything, yeah, I understand all that, but I'm talking about the people, right? my neighbors on Dover Hill, they didn't even know about this, right? Nobody reads the law journals, and nobody's gonna go out and look at the little square things that the affidavit says, yes, we published it, right? But impact to the community, please, take that into consideration, right? I'm sure if there's gonna be another meeting, we can rally up. I don't know if you remember what happened at Sonic, right, where we were lined up out the door, but we could do that again. But we didn't even know about it. They say, I didn't come dressed for this, that's for sure. Right, I left my pool. Right, but, all right, that's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else like to be heard? Nope, you only get one chance. Sorry. Anyone else?
Adrian Goldrich, Goldrich, 150 Alexandra Avenue, Wisconsin. I had written a letter after the first meeting that we were at, after the meeting was over, and I had sent it to, what was that place? The site planning, I believe. And they sent it back, and they said to me that it was over, that it wouldn't be fair to the other side if it was put in the files. However, they did say that Starbucks was going to present a traffic study, and they were waiting for that, which didn't seem right to me, since if they could do that, why couldn't I have my letter put in the file? The thing is that if Starbucks was handing in the traffic study, it doesn't seem as if it wouldn't be biased. To me, somebody like the BZA should recommend somebody who is not biased to either the residents or Starbucks for a traffic study. And that is how I feel that this was passed through. Because if the Department of Transportation would not allow Starbucks to have an entrance and exit on Mill Country Road, or Country Point allow the same, why is it okay to have an entrance and exit on Alexander Avenue, which is almost 100% residential? It does affect us tremendously, and I feel as if they should have another traffic study done by an unbiased person, and then you can see what really is going on our street. It's as everyone had said, it's very dangerous on that corner. And why do we have to have a Starbucks there when they can go elsewhere, which is already commercial, such as the Bahama Breeze? It opened up. They have a commercial place. They have entrance, exits. They can put all the signs they want. They don't have to come before the board, and they can start making money immediately, which I know is what they live for. However, they have to come to our community, and they're going to impact it in a very bad way. And I feel like they really should have another traffic study done so that everyone here really knows what's going on, because I feel that that study was biased, being that was them that chose the person who was going to do the study, and that probably was done in their favor. Okay, so thank you very much for your time.
Anyone else? No one else? Okay, you want to come back up, Grace?
Thank you. Thank you to the community for all their comments. We appreciate them, and we have taken them into consideration. However, there is one point that I really want to clear up from the get-go, the rumor of another entrance coming out of the condominium. If it's not on the plan, it's not getting granted. That is not on the plan, it's not what we presented, and that's not an issue for tonight. So I just want to make that clear to everyone. Okay? Also, there was a comment, quite a few comments made about the integrity of the dealings of this. I don't think I have to address the credibility of the board or my clients. I think that goes without saying, that there is nothing underhanded going on here. Starbucks also wants to remove a couple of the variances. They're okay to remove with the 2 drive-through signs on the building. Okay to remove the wall height signage variance, but they do need the extra wall sign for visibility. Okay to remove the exit and the enter signs, but possibly replace the 1 exit sign from the drive-through with a stop or a do not enter. So they would like that. I'm sorry, what? Yes, keep the, keep the. Oh, I'm sorry, I read it wrong. They want to keep the entrance one to the drive-through. Now, there was comments made that because I spoke about that because they had a new ICE procedure, that it's going to make everything go faster. I also spoke about it's not just the ICE. They also implemented the system of putting the menu board further back, having the further drive-through line, so more orders can get into the kitchen faster, and that includes food being made. And then as to any of the comments for traffic, I'd like to bring the engineer back up to address a few of the concerns with the traffic that I think are being misunderstood.
Thank you. I'll be very brief and just want to clarify a few things. I'm not going to belabor the point about the benefits that these improvements will have, not only for the Starbucks traffic, but also for the existing conditions. I just want to touch on a couple of the quick points in Ms. Silver Rosardi's testimony a few minutes ago. So the first one is concerning the deliveries, the lack of an on-site loading space, the concern that any truck deliveries will cause congestion on Alexander Avenue. As I testified to earlier, truck deliveries typically occur before the facility is open, on-site in one of the 44 parking stalls, no impact to on-site traffic circulation, certainly no impact to traffic volumes or traffic flow on the adjacent roadways. However, we're happy to put in a loading stall to remove the variance if the board would look favorably on that and if the public would receive it in a positive light. We don't feel Starbucks really never needs a loading zone. The deliveries are once a day. It's not a super frequent activity with trucks in and out like any other type of use, but we're happy to provide an on-site loading zone. It'll simply replace a portion of the parking supply. But as we've testified to, the 44 spaces that we have are more than sufficient. We can afford to lose a few and replace with a loading zone. Concern regarding the drive-through queuing, again, I've already spoken to that previously. The layout of the drive-through would actually allow for the stacking of almost 37 vehicles on site before they even reached Alexander Avenue. So it's 15 permanent in the drive-through queue, but the way that it's aligned, it could actually queue through the parking drive aisles. Because we have multiple drive aisles, we can maintain egress from the drive-through and stack that excess number of vehicles without ever impacting Alexander Avenue. Just wanted to quickly make that point. Concerned about the Sonic traffic volumes, that they were not captured in the traffic study, as well as the traffic volumes on Alexander. They were not captured in the traffic study. Yes, that traffic study was originally prepared in 2017. It was updated in 2023. Just before the update, new traffic counts were collected with the Sonic open and operational. Those volumes are very much accounted for in the existing baseline conditions. The existing conditions are the basis for all traffic impact studies, and I would put on the record that the Sonic volumes are accounted for in our impact analysis. That's really it that I wanted to touch on, and thank you again for your time.
One of the comments had to do with how do we propose aligning Alexander?
Yeah, so we're actively working with the state DOT, and we'll also involve the traffic safety department at the town regarding those improvements. So right now, it is not unheard of to have intersection approaches that are slightly offset. If you look at the angle of the northbound approach, it does feed on that through lane into the receiving lane on the north side of the intersection. However, we are open to, modifying the alignment slightly to make it align better to the satisfaction of the Traffic Safety Department, to the satisfaction of the DOT. There was also a suggestion previously that we investigate a 2-lane southbound approach that would inherently align the intersection more exactly opposite. We conducted sensitivity analysis to test that improvement, and the findings are almost exactly the same. So if that would be a preferred alternative from the town, we're happy to, propose that as well. Ultimately, it will be subject to the DOT's review and approval, as it is their intersection. But I think it was a great suggestion by the town planning staff, and we will propose that.
Block the traffic coming down Alexander. Block the traffic coming down Alexander. Would it be possible, like they've done on CVS, like on Maple, where they put those white boxes in there, so cars do not?
The box.
You're gonna have
Oh, I'm sorry. The mic was turned off. A do not block the box striping. Apologies for cutting you off. But is that what you're referring to, the box in the road
yes.
with the striping?
Yeah.
We can absolutely propose that on Alexander. It'll be subject to the approval by the town, likely traffic safety and engineering departments, but it is a town roadway, and I think we'd be happy to propose that improvement. Again, I would like to make the point that with these substantial improvements to the intersection, we expect the queuing as compared to the existing condition that everyone's talking about. It's a problem. It certainly is. We observe that when we look at our traffic counts, when we're out in the field doing our site visits. We expect these improvements in conjunction with the signal timing modifications to actually improve the queuing condition in the future as it is today in certain instances. So I, again, just want to make that point, but I don't think we'd have any opposition to putting in a do not block the box striping. Right in front of, it would be within the southbound travel lane, directly in front of our site access.
Nothing from the audience, please.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
If we closed it, sorry. Anything, we've already closed the public comments. Okay, please don't speak from the audience. Okay, please don't speak from the audience, thank you.
We have nothing further unless the board has any other questions for us.
Any other questions, anyone? All right, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Case closed.
Good night, thank you.
Thank you, too. I believe that's it for tonight. All right, I guess let's go into decisions. Case 19337, Gary Schenk.
On case 19337, I'll make a condition to approve the application as presented with the condition that they remove 1 foot of the paving.
Can you,
What?
Condition states that the applicant shall remove any paving that's on the adjacent neighbor's property.
well, the requirement is 1 foot.
Do you want it cut back to 1 foot?
There was no request for it in the variances, so
So do you want them to cut it back to 1
I
foot?
think it has to be.
All right, so then I would say,
Whatever the percentage is,
so they're not asking the 0, I guess. We'll have to figure out what it is with 1 foot. Obviously, it changes the number.
Right.
I think they were looking for, it's not advertised, but they probably wanted a 0 foot.
Maintain, yeah,
0 foot reduction.
obviously.
but obviously, we didn't have a survey that would let us know it was less than 1 foot. And
Yeah.
now that we have an official survey that shows there's an encroachment, if they've got to cut it back at all, why not cut it back to comply?
All right, do you want to decide on it then, or wait until I have the numbers?
I think we just, I think you can figure the number out and just insert the number. It's whatever the percentage works out to with a 1 foot setback.
Okay.
Let me ask
Is
you,
everyone okay with that?
after that, could they come back and ask for a variance again or no? Could she come back, that,
Probably not.
no?
Yes, it would be a new application.
Would be an
Yeah, but
application.
they'd be asking for a variance that they already asked for, that was already decided on.
Yeah,
So,
But technically, did she ask for it? They did?
she didn't ask for the setback of the paving.
Yeah.
It's 25 square feet, that's right?
It goes in the side yard too, I believe.
I think we have the,
This one you're reducing, you're taking the foot off?
Yeah.
We have the survey, yeah. Well, I think, can you figure that out?
Right at this minute, no. Tomorrow,
Not at
yes.
this minute, because we've done it before, just say, you know, remove the encroachment.
We'll approve
There'll
it
be-
to a
There's a
certain
condition to remove the
percentage,
encroachment.
and you know, they have to remove the encroachment on the adjacent property.
didn't the neighbor give us a survey?
He did.
Yeah, it should be there. It's right there.
Lillian Road.
Is this it right here?
So it's just gonna be 1 foot, because you don't count the encroachment. We good? All right, we got a motion, we need a second?
Do we need a second?
Oh, second, sorry. A second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries with conditions, 5-0. Case 19359, Danielle Payman.
On case 19359, I'll make a motion to approve this application as presented.
We got motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries, 5-0. Case 19366, Theodore Preston.
On case 19366, I'll make a motion to approve this application as presented.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, 5-0. Case 19367, no action. Case 19369, Robert Argiro.
On case 19369, I'm going to read the variances.
I'm a little confused about what John was actually saying, what he's gonna do.
So I believe, according to my notes, that he had agreed to shift the structure over to 13 feet from the property line as opposed to 9.
Right.
And that they would drop the height
To
of the
15.
structure to 15 feet. And that would eliminate the need for 1 to 2 floors as well, because now it would be below the requirement.
So you want me to read it? I'll read it.
Yes, so, and the
Okay.
front yard setback you said is not necessary.
It is
Right.
not necessary,
Yes, I'm
so
going
it's
to
not
deny.
not
I'm gonna
applicable.
deny.
Okay.
Okay. Variance
So, yeah,
reduced-
the total side yard changes, it's gonna be an extra 5 feet, right? You're saying?
4 foot.
Oh, 4 feet, so it would be 29 feet.
That's
yeah.
what I have. Okay, variance reduced the front yard setback from 50 feet to 44 feet. Be denied without prejudice for the proposed 311 square foot front roof over porch. Reduce the minimum side yard setback from 16 feet to 13 feet. Reduce the total side yard setback from 34 feet to 29 feet. Increase the maximum height of an accessory structure to 15 feet. Increase the number of floors, for accessory structure only to 1 for the proposed 616 square foot detached garage.
And the height from 15 to 18, you're denying,
Denying.
right?
We're denying,
Correct.
yes.
And from floors 1 to 2 is denied.
Mhm.
Okay, we have a motion to partially approve. We need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries 5-0. Case 19370, Jason Birchoff.
On case 19370,
Hold on.
I'm sorry. What is he saying?
I don't have that's pending. I have a type 2. 19370. He's ahead of us. Okay.
He's causing problems.
Jason Birchoff, 19370.
On 19370, I'll make a motion to approve this application as presented.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries 5-0. Case 19371 is pending secra, no action. Case 19374, Allison Cafferone.
On case 19374, I'll make a motion to approve this application as presented with the condition that all the encroachments be removed and no trees should be removed.
Okay, got a motion? And a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries with conditions, 5-0. Case 19378, Matthew and Angeline Perry, no action? He is, still.
Yes, he's dead, yep.
Case 19379, Kevin Daly.
On case 19379, I'll make a motion to approve this application as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nice, John. That's good. You jumped right in there.
Yeah, I beat him to the punch.
Case 19373, Matthew LaBroya.
Okay, on case 19373, I'll make a motion to approve as presented with the following conditions.
Hold on.
Stop.
What?
No, you can't make a decision.
Okay.
They have an encroachment into the town right-of-way with
Yeah.
retaining walls. The town attorney and the highway department are going to put together some kind of language whereby if people want to get an easement agreement with the town for an encroachment into a right-of-way, they first have to get permission and approval from the highway superintendent. Once that's been approved and been granted, they're gonna have to work out language with town attorney's office, and then it's gonna have to be filed. And then they can come back to the board, and, it doesn't have to be filed before they get their approval, but they can come back to the board, get their approval, and then file it.
Okay.
So we have to
Alright.
reopen it again?
No, we just have to wait.
You just have to wait, and maybe it'll be done by the next
So
meeting.
this is gonna be standard operating procedure for
Standard
any
operating procedure from
application that
now
has
on.
an encroachment into the right of way.
Anything into the town right of way.
Yeah, I was talking.
All right, it's on you.
Anyway, so it will be standard operating procedure for any application moving forward that has an encroachment into the town right of way that we will need to get approval from the highway department prior to a decision.
And we're not calling it a hold harmless agreement, we're calling it an easement agreement,
Okay,
encroachment agreement. Thank you.
got it. So 19373, no action.
Okay.
No, it doesn't have to. So they have to get approval from the highway superintendent.
Oh,
They've got a right of pavement, and then they can come back to the board, they can get
sorry,
approved,
John.
Yes.
and then they have to file it, basically.
What happened?
Just stuff it in there.
The frig is going on over there?
Not even moving.
Trouble with the other end.
Could you imagine if we had the other,
That's the east wing, this is the west wing.
There you go.
could you imagine if we had the other case?
This is the, what's that other one?
The red oak thing? Think, all the people left, we had,
Red Oak, imagine that?
could you imagine that?
Oh,
If we had red oak tonight?
I said we wouldn't have been done till at least 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready. You good? Okay. Back in action. Okay, next case is 19372, BDTP LLC, VinFast.
On case 19372, I'll make a motion to approve this application as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
aye.
All right, motion carries 5-0. Case 19377, Enology.
On case 19377, I'll make a motion to approve this application as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Case 19375 is adjourned until September 30th.
I might miss that meeting.
Case 19345, Good Meats LLC, we need a secra.
Yes, on case 19345, I'll ask a motion to unlisted neg deck, to approve the unlisted neg deck.
Need a second?
Second.
All right. Motion and a second on the secra.
On the merits?
Well, no, not yet. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion secret carries 5-0. Now on the merits.
On the merits, I'll approve this application as presented.
Second?
Make a
We need
motion.
second.
Second.
Someone. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. All right, case 19376, 250 Wireless LLC, we need a seeker again?
Yes, on case 19376, I make a motion to approve the unlisted neg deck.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, 5-0 on the seeker, now on the merits?
On the merits, on one case, 19376, I'll make a motion to approve this application as presented.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries 5-0. Case 19368, we're waiting on a seeker, no action. Case 19037, Vassar Kaufman of Smithtown. The,
No action.
I was gonna say, there's no, we need some clarification on the site plan, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then we will reserve decision on that. We have some on the back?
Yes. Courtesy
A
of
lot on
Rachel.
the back.
19250, 225.
That's the barber shop.
Oh, right, so we should have 19250, I believe we had findings that the town attorney had given us?
Yes. Okay,
Now, are they gonna have to read the whole thing onto the record?
so I'll make a motion.
250, sorry, darling.
I'll make a motion that we all have read the findings and we, what do you call it? We adopt them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion, we need a second.
Second.
All right,
Okay.
to adopt the findings, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Do we need to make a decision on top of that, or the findings?
you're gonna
Okay.
grant
And
the
now on the merits.
Okay, on case 19250, I'll make a motion to approve this application as presented.
The request is to provide a certificate of existing use.
Use.
So is everyone okay with that?
Yep.
All right, we need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries 5-0. All right, 520.
Yeah.
No, okay, case,
Do we gotta worry about if I was here?
yeah. Who was here on 520, do we know? Darlene was the only one in this room who knows who was here on 520. I know I was here.
I know I was here.
I wasn't.
All right, so John would have been here then.
John was here,
Okay,
Mr. Valentine, everybody else was here except Mr. Ben. Both Johns were here.
okay, so it's gonna be, everyone but Gay can vote on this. All right, so case 19310,
one has
Vincent
any problem with
Rocco. No,
Okay.
my notes are,
Me too.
no problem.
Okay, on case 19310, I'll make a motion to approve this application as presented.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries 4-0. Case 19326, Pierre Parnell and Fritza Pierre Paul.
I don't know.
I was here. I think Gay was here. This was last meeting.
Yep.
This was 6:10. Right, let's look. 19326. Oh, no, we went on to July.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking at my notes.
Yes.
And we have that. But I also have notes about drainage, that I had a condition that, because the neighbor was concerned that there was drainage going on to the neighboring parcel.
They were concerned because they said that they were excavating close to the property line with the pool. They didn't actually say that there was an issue with
She
stormwater.
said that they were, I thought they said there was stormwater going.
There was stormwater problems, as I recall.
I would just put a condition on it that, the town engineer has to sign off on any. Well, it protects the neighbor, boy, so. And you'll be in Pennsylvania, so. Anyway, I had a note in here that we should put a condition on
All
it,
right.
that the town engineer take a look at the drainage.
Okay. On case 19326, I'll make a motion to approve this application as presented with the condition that the town engineer looks at the drainage on this piece of property.
Second.
A motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Okay, 19346, Carrie Larson. This was the one that we were just waiting on.
The architect revised the plan. He lowered the height of the roof to 20 feet. He gave us copies of plans which are in the file, which is in the box. And that's what the board implied that they were willing to approve.
So that's the only modification in the request. Yeah, 20 is what they
20,
reduced it
I
to.
have.
Backside is 15.
Okay, so you want to make a motion then?
Yeah. On case 19346, I'll make a motion, but I'll read the variances.
Yeah.
Variance to permit environmentally sensitive land to be altered for slopes greater than 15%, to permit construction within 10 feet of any slope greater than 25%, for a proposed 1,050 square foot detached garage, to increase the maximum height of an accessory structure from 15 feet to 20 feet, increase the square footage of the detached garage from 750 square feet to 150 square feet, 1,050 square feet.
We're approving to 20 feet only, so we need
Only.
a second.
Who was here for that?
I think John was here.
Second.
And
4-0?
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries 4-0. This is 7:15. What did I? Three, 5, 7. I had no problem.
Okay.
Anyone else? 19357, Brian Simmons from the 15th. Gay, you were here for that one.
I was here for that. No, I had no problem.
Okay, let me read it.
Who was absent for the previous case, 19326, Pierre Paul?
I believe Gay was not here. I think John was here.
He
Gay
was
was
not
absent.
here.
She was absent, okay.
No, I was here, wasn't I here for Pierre Paul, but I wasn't here for,
Carrie Larson.
yeah,
Carrie Lawson.
Carrie Lawson.
That's the one you were asking about, right?
No.
No.
First asking about Pierre Paul, 19326.
Gay was here
I
for that
was
one.
here.
She was here,
I was not.
okay,
That's 402.
yes. And you were absent for Carrie Larson.
Mm-hmm.
Case 19357, Brian Simmons.
On case 19357, I'll make a motion to approve this application as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
So that's 4-0. Gay was here for that one.
John was absent.
Moving right along. Case 19362, I believe the town attorney worked on some language for that sign.
So I'll read it, and then you want to read the conditions? And how does she want me to do it?
Yeah. Darlene's had enough.
Adjourned. There was a bug, huh?
Probably the one that you brought on
Yeah.
your shoulder.
So you're gonna have to read it onto the record.
I'll read it, and then she'll do the conditions.
Just read the conditions. Yeah, approve it with the conditions.
I don't have the conditions.
It should be in her
I
packet.
think they should be in this, I think they're in here. Thought I saw them. Here.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Right here.
Okay. You can read the conditions,
We'll give it to John. I don't think I'm allowed to.
you know? John?
What are these?
So these are the conditions. Oh, actually, John wasn't here for
He
for that
wasn't
one.
here, I
Yeah.
was.
Gay was here for that one. Turn it back.
You want to read it?
Give it to Gay, she can.
You want to read them?
I just have to read the approved, okay.
On case 19362, we'll read the conditions, please.
One, the proposed LED marquee lighting shall be continuous and shall not be flashing, blinking, or intermittently illuminated at any time. All changes or updates to the illuminated content to be displayed on the LED marquee shall occur no more frequently than once per day and shall be scheduled for either the start or close of each business day. Third, the applicant shall comply with all laws, ordinances, rules, and regulations of all public authorities having jurisdiction over the premises, and no certificate of occupancy completion shall be issued until absolute compliance has been proven, the building director. The approval set forth herein shall continue only for so long as compliance has been proven to the building director.
And just by way of a little background, this was the application for the
LED sign.
the LED sign at the theater, and the board recognizes the fact that this is a very unique circumstance, and that we had requested that the town attorney come up with some language that gives us the ability to approve this for this historic building, so that, or recognizing the fact that it is a quasi-public use, in as much as this board has been very reluctant to approve intermittently illuminated signs in the past. So,
Did you want them to read the whereas?
you want us to read the preamble?
You want me to
Yes,
read
I
this?
think so. I think that's,
Here. And then just read this. Yeah. Tony.
Well-
On this page,
That whole
where it
page?
ends with whereas,
mm-hmm,
you can start with that last whereas and then read the 6 things
Got it.
below it.
okay, so whereas this board has reviewed the provisions set forth in 322-70, parenthesis 5, and hereby determines the following. The historic theater, including the parapet upon which the LED marquee will be mounted, is a pre-existing non-conforming building or structure under the code that predates the adoption of the Town of Smithtown zoning ordinance. The applicant proposes to mount the proposed LED marquee to the existing parapet in the same location and of the same dimensions as previous placed illuminated signs that have historically been located at the historic theater. 3, the applicant proposes the LED marquee which will not display flashing or intermittently illuminated content. 4, the board determines that the proposed LED marquee will provide a safer and more efficient alternative to previous illuminated signs that required the sign operator to manually change listings for display, thereby having a beneficial impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood. 5, the board determines that the approval of the proposed LED marquee, subject to certain conditions, will not change the character of the community, since the historic theater has traditionally maintained an illuminated marquee sign, and the proposed sign will be similarly and continuously illuminated. 6, the request to install and maintain the LED marquee at the historic theater is granted, subject to the listed conditions. And now we need someone to make a motion to approve it.
I'll make a motion on this to approve the application as presented with the conditions.
And I'll second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. You weren't here for that one, right? Yeah, so Gay was here for that one. All right, and now 19152.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
That's an old one.
Yep. Okay, on case 19152, I'll make a motion to approve the application as presented.
hold on.
I don't think that would be it. They can all vote on it. 'cause it's
No, this
just
is
an
from
extension.
2024.
I think it's only a 2 year.
But it's just an extension.
Oh, it's an extension of time.
Yeah, it's just
Oh.
an extension.
I'm like looking back.
Oh, okay,
We can all vote on that. Anyone have a problem with it, giving them another, what do they want, 6 months?
6 months.
No?
I have no problem.
We need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
6 months it is.